What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Giuseppe Montesano, Jimmy Eats Soup, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Todd Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, Jmels24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKinnon, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Harry Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, the Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Tina Baker, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. And now I'll hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
They look very nice. You know, when the sun, after like a rain shower and the sun's shining through the clouds and it's all bright, but it's cloudy and bright at the same time. Like fluffy clouds and sunshine and and then you see vineyards as far as the eye can see, and trees, and looks really nice. Makes me think of the days of yore, you know, when all days were like that. Pretty much most people had farmlands and so forth, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
My sister said something like, "Oh yeah, you know, people like from European countries, they're in farmlands. You know, it's like they're tricked to go into the city life, right? And then once they go into city life, they realize they missed the farm life. But now they don't have those properties anymore. Now they're in like the city system kind of way of living." Yeah, it seems Nathan didn't hand out the link to Skype, so I don't know. He might just be testing stuff, and he's not ready to start with Skype. Right. Well,
We're going to cover, what's the name today again? Sabine
Sabine?
Hosselenfelder.
Right, and you're aware that you also got to hand out the Skype link, right?
And out the what?
The Skype link.
Oh, okay. You want me to, for G+, you mean?
Yeah, well, just so you know, you do it whenever you're ready, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know
I'm
if you're
ready. I
aware
just
or not.
forgot.
Yeah, okay, so that's why I mentioned it.
I'll stick it in now if I've still got it in my clipboard. Yes, I have.
And
There we
I'll
go.
switch over to.
There's people in there. Let's have a look what they're saying. Nobody's too concerned. They're all just chit-chatting. There you go. Neil's in first.
I'm coming next.
Oh, they're all joining.
Max, hello.
Hello. And motley crew all piling in at once.
Yeah, well, Del caused a ruckus.
Dell caused a ruckus. Oh yeah. Go on then. This sounds interesting.
Well, you have to prove your directional vector, Nathan, that you claim.
I don't claim anything. I can observe things occurring in nature. Let's get this cleared up straight away. So, in terms of Antony's experiment, when he was demonstrating the cause of an effect that might be ascribed to a cause that's upward rising Earth, you can observe that some things in nature do go down, and some things in nature do go up. I exampled them to Dell personally. Now, when I did, his response was, quote, "Never mind the clouds." Okay, well, there's the phenomena that we can observe, and we can explore the cause of that phenomena. In this instance, some things rise up. Well, if Dell's saying, I need to justify the vector, well, yeah, you can. You can qualify the vector as a phenomena in nature and then vary and manipulate that which you assume causes that effect and see if it does or not. It's been done. You vary the density of the medium and you can cause a disequilibrium and a vector change. Well, there you go. Done.
But the clouds are denser than the medium.
Upon phase change, they're going to change density so much that they drop back down again eventually. But on their way up as vapor, they are less dense and making their way up.
Yeah. No,
but that's not.
saying that.
But in that respect, with gases, it's not respect to the medium. In that respect, it's down to the fact that they are unbonded and move freely in all directions regardless. So in that respect, when it comes to a gas, I don't even have to appeal to its density at all because it's a gas. It's just going to disperse throughout the gaps.
That's the thing, though. In his claim, there is only density gradient. There is only more dense things on the bottom and less dense as you go up.
Oh, right. Well, he doesn't understand how gases work. In case of, I'll use their terminology, our atmosphere, sphere-shaped air oxymoron, which we don't have, but what we would refer to as the air we're breathing in their vernacular, is an anisotropic, inhomogeneous mixture of gases. That mixture doesn't make any difference how high you are. It's not suddenly a layer of oxygen or a layer of more dense air. It's just the gases produced at ground level disperses throughout, and all of it disperses equally, because it's all the same unbonded molecules of gas working their way between all the gaps. So it doesn't matter what gas it is or where it's introduced, eventually it's just going to go through the second law of thermodynamics process of distributing itself throughout the availability of volume. Well, that's it. So what? You're not going to have layers. You're not going to have gradients. You can just have it dispersing. And upon doing so, it will, because of the contained system that we must be under for this to happen, go under a phase change when you talk about clouds. Become more dense, fall through the air itself when it becomes a different phase. In this case, liquid water. But again, that process can only take place if you've got the entirety of the gases in the first instance contained, so that they can be at pressure, regardless of their dispersion, and the higher pressure being where the gases are introduced, as you would expect, at ground level in this instance for this natural system.
Right, but you're talking about when it becomes rain, right? The clouds are liquid water. They're just not formed around anything to become rain. And I mean, it's non sequitur anyway. His claim is built upon the idea that everything is layered in densities.
Right. Gases.
Right.
Okay. So, in short, you're saying that the way to overcome this argument is to say gases don't behave that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, their whole
Can I tell you what he
concept.
did?
You can,
whole
but
concept.
he's making the most concise point here to wrap up sharpen our blade, Neil. You could interrupt at this crucial of moment. Go ahead.
Well, they'll usually give it in a false dichotomy of if the Earth wasn't rising up, things would just be floating around. Freely moving randomly in all directions.
Like gases.
Like gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Penny dropped quite late after my long preamble to that concise summary that demolishes this point. Your assumption doesn't fit within gas behavior. End of argument.
Good morning, guys.
Can I speak now? I'm trying to get him into
Let's
my
have a
brother
think.
speaking.
We'll ask, maybe do a vote.
Not,
Yes, Neil, go ahead.
It's too late now, but he does the sulfhexafluoride trick with in the tank, and he hovers the tinfoil, hovers in it, and he starts saying, "Clouds, Nathan, clouds, see."
Wow. Weren't Globers showing us that video years ago?
That's the
Like,
same
really?
thing I
This is
thought.
where we're at? Jeez. Anyway, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
See, he thinks that the clouds are a ship sitting on water. That's what he thinks.
And he also says gas does go down. It's got a downward
Oh.
vector, and he claims that there has to be a mechanism for any type of movement, and we're the ones that are making the claim, the outrageous claim that it's stationary.
Of course we are, yeah. Outrageous.
Gas goes down, goes boom, boom, goes splash, splash now.
Gas goes
That's
in all
cool.
directions. Anyway, we're not making any claim about anything. He's got an outrageous claim and has to project that onto us so he can set it up in false dichotomy. He's been through his repertoire here in person. If you want to go and listen to him going through this exact repertoire, what he's saying now, he's saying he's doing the exact same thing when we're not in front of him. He did it while we were here, and he had his head ripped off. You know, he's still doing it. That's fascinating. So he's on the floor with his arms and legs removed, like the Black Knight, telling people he's going to bite my legs off. Okay, fascinating stuff. Yeah, nice to know I got under your skin, Del. I hadn't given you much of a second thought beyond how much revenue your video would bring in. That's about all you've got as an interest to me at this point, because I won. That was the end. Now we're dissecting it meticulously for how concisely we can rip the next man apart with the exact same garbage, right, John?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like after you figure out how to decapitate somebody, just kind of practicing the move over and over again to cut down on any wasted movements.
Well, he did invite you to go over there and speak to him on his channel, Quantum Eraser. Nathan
Just
Oakley.
like
He said that here too. Yeah. And I said to him, if I had a positive claim to promote, maybe I'd want to come and sell it to you. Unfortunately, I have nothing to sell. Unlike you, coming to me proactively with your outrageous claim that Earth moves up. What's that you say? I've got an outrageous claim that Earth is stationary. Oh yeah, I'll get on the promotional tour for that immediately.
Maybe I should go over there. Maybe I should go to his channel and claim that the sky's on fire, and if he don't have a mechanism for why it's burning, then his whole paradigm is crap.
Right, Del's not saying the sky is on fire. What an outrageous claim. We must prove it immediately. Okay, Del, whatever.
Are you denying that
the
you
sky
feel
is
heat from
falling.
the sun? You don't feel the heat from the sun, Dale? There got to be a mechanism from that. Are you denying that?
Look,
God.
insulting him by using his own crappy parlour trick back at him is, the limit. Mockery isn't what we're about. Educating people on how you overcome the argument. Yeah, gas behaviour doesn't comport with your notions of a density layering system within gas, because gas doesn't do that. If we were to not have Earth rising up, we'd float off. What? Because we'd behave like gas behaves when it doesn't comport with your notions of a layering system. Yeah, you've got false notions that don't comport with reality. And when you look at how reality does behave, you can study the effect that you're looking at and tell me how that effect came to pass by varying and manipulating that which you assume caused it. And if you can vary something that causes it, I'll pay attention to your cause of the effect that you observed. And that'll be it in its entirety. It won't be, oh, I varied A, it caused B, therefore Earth moves up. No, A causes B. If what you're looking at is why things have a vector change, then that's already been scientifically validated. So Dale's got nothing more to offer to us. What he had to offer, he came and proactively offered. It got torn to shreds.
I still think this is I don't know. Are people really arguing this, man? Is this not a troll?
Yeah.
They're arguing it everywhere. It's
everywhere.
yeah.
Who's arguing this everywhere?
Discord.
Oh my God.
I mean, you got to think how many. There's been 3 people now, other than Dale, that's come to us personally. JC, Rachie, and there was someone else, I can't remember, but 3 people
I
other
like
than
it.
Dale.
I like where we are. We are the arbiters of truth, and I sleep really soundly. I never have to worry about the bullshit I'm spinning out there. I don't have to worry about any claims that I've made that I've got no evidence to defend. I don't have to worry about any of that. And people who turn around and say, these people are bad, oh, really? Have they got an outrageous claim they're making by any chance? Because there's a good chance that it's been presented here and we've disagreed with it based on its lack of evidence. So all we do is pummel people based on their fantasies and idiotic ideas, and then pull them apart based on the lack of evidence. And then people say they don't like us, or tell us that we've got outrageous claims. No, we haven't. That's the bottom line here. Now, I'm happy being in that position. If Rachie turns around and says, I hate them because they showed me and affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy and a lack of scientific validity in the hypothesis I presented, then fine, so be it. I'd rather be where we're at. We're all only and exclusively interested in truth. There is an exception with Arwin when he plays devil's advocate, but he does have the mental fortitude to cope with doing that and know when to stop, more importantly. But with that exception, notwithstanding that exception, we're only interested in truth here. None of us have got an axe to grind. None of us have got a shitty claim to peddle. I can't think of anybody who's got a shitty... Back in the day, maybe, before we ironed out all that crap. But who's got a claim to peddle here?
But there is movement, is there not? There is an up, a down, remaining neutral, right? So what he's saying is it can't just happen by itself.
No,
It has to be a mechanism to cause it.
No. The direction is relative, right? There are not even... I could name one, maybe there's more, actual directions. Everything else is relative. If you want to take Polaris and say that's an actual objective direction, then fine, I'll give you that one. But everything else is relative to something else. All directionality is relative.
Yeah, but his claim is what's causing the movement. There has to be something that
What
causes it. Things
movement?
just
Who
don't move.
cares?
Things that don't move on
what
their own. I'm
movement?
just saying what he's saying.
Okay, well, the way it works in terms of scientific methodology, Neil, is that if you see an effect in nature, you can go, I wonder what caused that, and then suppose a cause of it and vary it to see if it did or not. Now, if he's got that to offer, then we might pay it some credence. If he hasn't, and he's got suppositions that are based on outrageous claims and burden of proof reversal fallacy to stack up false dichotomy, that's about as concise as what we got from him. Can't summarise it any better than that. Then we're not interested. We've had it, we've heard it. We didn't hear it from the secondary or tertiary sources, we heard it from him. He got our replies. Now he's parroting it like a stuck record. Okay. He got two choices when it comes to people who you figure out are deceivers, Neil. Number one, try and tell them that they are deceivers. Number two, try and tell the people around them that they are deceivers. Number three, walk away from the deceiver. Right? I pick option 3. What's that? He wants me to come to him. What with? My positive claim that... What positive claim? He says that the antithesis of his outrageous claim that Earth is moving up is my positive claim. Okay. Yeah, good old Dell with his outrageous nonsense and use of a burden of proof reversal fallacy to stack up a false dichotomy, exactly as he did here. How very interesting to us.
It's hard to walk away when they're chasing you.
Not really. Are you being chased, Neil? That's not good.
You didn't see the video he put out, calling us all out?
No, I don't care. Calling us out for what?
I don't know.
Not
I didn't
falling
see
for
it
his
either, but
shit?
I see what Kiwi
Exactly.
wrote in Master B.
Yeah, we haven't got an axe to grind, right? Check it out, right? Dal might have some useful information. You might even find him entertaining. His YouTube channel is Beyond the Imaginary Curve. So go and check him out. Subscribe today. Let him know I sent you. I have no axe to grind with Dal. I don't care. I don't give him a second thought. And as for me presenting things to him, I've got nothing to present, I'm afraid, Dal. I don't have anything to offer to you. If you say I'm presenting things and need to defend them, oh, okay, well, fine. If you say I haven't defended them, then okay, fine. No worries.
Nathan, you are making a claim,
the only
Nathan.
thing that we need to present is just reality.
Yep.
the same reality that he used to run around and say that this is reality, this is why we're not moving, this is how he debunked Globers back in the day. So, yeah, that's why he's got the positive claim, which is why he's got the burden of proof, because it's not moving.
I agree with you, Chocolate. You're 100% right. But he seems to think that we're making the claim of stationary Earth.
Okay, so are you appealing to...
And we have to prove it.
That's fascinating. I don't. What's that he says? I must demand... He demands of it, of me. Oh, that's really interesting. I'll laugh at him like I did when he was here.
Hold on. Stationary means not moving. Are we making a claim of non-existence?
That's what Kelly said.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same trick. He just keeps doing it.
It's riddled with fallacy. So,
Yes.
you know,
So walk
I don't
away.
know, man.
So what? So you're persisting though, aren't you, Neil? So is it A, you want to change Dell's mind? B, you want to change the people around Dell's mind? Or my option C, run away? He's a lying shit. Just get away from him.
Yeah, but it's entertainment for us. We got something to talk about right now.
Yeah, well, you know, while I don't have an axe to grind, I know what he is now. He's a liar. Well, I don't like being around those sorts of people. Obviously, you can do and share whatever you like. I'd rather you just shared this show.
Well, I think he's upset with what happened with Rachel. He thinks we overtalked her, we ganged up on her. That wasn't the case, though. She was the one overtalking everybody.
Yes. Okay, well, let's just give it him. Concede. Yeah, we ganged up on her and took a shitty argument about Earth rising up to pieces. How unreasonable. What's that? We should have let her beg the question longer before taking it apart and taking a big fat dump on her crap that she got from you about Earth rising up. Maybe. I took my time with her, led her through her affirming the consequent, and then pointed out that it's a fallacy. I mean, I don't know what else I can do. Maybe that was unreasonable. I don't think so.
That's funny because I see it that way. A lot of people see it that way. He claims that Rachel took Adam to task. It's wild how they got these delusions. Like, are they not listening to what's being said?
That depends. Is what they said affirming their bias?
Probably.
Well, then they should be listening. I don't think you know what I meant, Neil. Affirming their bias as in, is what they're listening to proving Earth moves up?
What they're listening to from themselves, yeah.
No,
but they're
from
not
us.
listening to anything we say.
Man. From our point of view, Neil, when they're talking about us, are they affirming their biases when they listen to us?
No.
Oh, well, they're probably not listening then.
And that's okay.
How can you not listen? He's playing the video. He's listening. He's hearing it, but he's not receiving it.
Boom, chicka, chicka, chick, chick, boom.
Indeed,
Good
that's just what I was thinking.
Y'all. Good morning.
Good afternoon, or good morning, or evening, wherever you may be. We're going to be covering Sabine Hosselenfelder again today, so part 2 of the video that we were covering yesterday, because we only got about halfway through it. But in the meantime, we'll ask a few housekeeping questions. So, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No. Presupposed, you say?
The big fat negative.
Right, any scientific evidence of gravity?
Well, that's a bit
Hell to the
unfair because
no.
Because
we wouldn't expect to see any scientific evidence as it's a mathematical model that describes it.
sure, but it's also the catch-all term for an anti-flat earther / globe believer in respect to any problems that occur within their heliocentric paradigm can be answered by the claim to be physical effect we would experience in our physical world of the mathematical construct of gravity that has no physics for it, therefore no science for it, as you correctly assert. So it depends which way you want to look at it.
He gave the correct response though for their usual claims, right? Because every claim they have, it's usually followed by, well, you wouldn't expect to see curvature. You wouldn't expect to see Coriolis. You wouldn't expect to see this. You wouldn't expect to see that.
You wouldn't expect
Meanwhile,
scientific
we're
evidence of
supposed to
gravity.
believe.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, because anti-flat earthers may say that post 2018, but globe believers are under the acute misapprehension that there is scientific evidence for both the globe and for gravity.
Well, they need to keep up to date with their own side.
Did I lose the
Hello.
audio? Did I lose the audio for a second there? Seemed like I did. Owen, how you
Hello,
doing?
hello.
Hello.
Ah. Hey, what did I miss?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
All right.
You missed all types of globe proof, man. We're done. We're wrapping it up.
Damn it.
Yeah, man. It's a ball.
4 more
spinning,
hours.
we're spinning around and stuff. We're in space. We're in a vacuum right now, currently, while breathing. It's done. Just smoke them if you got them. It's great.
Yeah, you didn't take into account the Coriolis deviation in your
Well,
schedule, did you?
No, that's all good. That's all good.
My wife's
It's
just come in.
there. You
Right.
expect to see it, but it's there.
Check this out. My wife's just come in. She's gone, "You been on camera?" I was like, yeah. She's got chocolate on your head. Ow. Thanks, honey. Just drop that on my head. Right. Anyway, sorry about that. I was just distracted slightly by my wife telling me I've got chocolate on my face. Anyway. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Viable, you say?
The chocolate's from my youngest daughter, by the way. I haven't actually eaten any chocolate today, but I have had her on me with her chocolatey hand. That's probably where it's come from. Just in case you were wondering. Viable, yeah.
Well, would a viable hypothesis be something that you would have physical proof of, or something that could potentially be physically provable?
Viable
Could.
hypothesis just means that the thing you're observing, the dependent variable, actually does occur in nature. You can observe it. It is natural. It's not induced by man. And you have a supposition of cause that is real, variable by you, the researcher, and the statement of supposed cause in the hypothesis. So long as you have those things, you have a, quote, viable hypothesis. Okay?
Yeah, but what if you could potentially vary and manipulate an independent variable, but you just don't have the ability to do it yet?
But then you can't. Variable as an independent variable means that you, number one, it must be real. Number two, you, the researcher, must be physically capable of varying and manipulating it. And thirdly, just to keep the order, it must be the statement of supposed cause in the hypothesis statement, the A statement. If A, then B. B is the phenomena you're trying to induce. A is the must be capable of varying by you, the researcher, independent variable statement. Same thing that you're going to vary must be the A statement in the hypothesis.
So no, wait. I was thinking like a black hole absorbs light.
What the hell?
What's a black hole?
That's an outrageous claim as opposed to a statement of a phenomena.
That's true. Yeah, that's why I was stumbling before I even laid it down. I'm really trying.
Well,
It's
just
hard.
because, hold on, just because we can't name a viable hypothesis doesn't mean one doesn't exist, right?
I don't care. We are asking for it. So, an appeal to the future fallacy or an argument from ignorance isn't what we're asking for. We're asking for a viable hypothesis. We're not even asking for the hypothesis to be actualized in the form of an experiment. When we say any viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics, what we're essentially appealing for is them to not only observe a natural phenomena in the case of a twinkling light in the sky, but also suppose a cause of that twinkling light, if that's what they're observing. That's it.
Yeah, but they made
Well-
black holes in CERN. That's a
Well,
fact.
my point is if you say if you do the prove non-existence fallacy, right, then you can try to say that we're making a positive claim.
What, by saying there are no black holes beyond the assertion of them within the Einsteinian pseudo four-dimensional space realm that was invented in his mathematics, therefore we're making a positive claim that there aren't any?
No. We're saying that these fields aren't science because they don't have any hypotheses that we know of, right?
Yeah, based on what's been presented or the lack thereof, yes.
Well, just because we don't know that they're there doesn't mean they're not.
Okay.
You're still looking for phenomena then, aren't you?
Let's make this more simplistic. What John's saying is, if I say, let's have some proof for unicorns, and John's argument is to turn around and say, just because we can't give you any proof of unicorns doesn't mean unicorns don't exist. Correct, John?
Yeah.
Well, that checks out, as Chocolate would say. And therefore unicorns.
And therefore unicorns. That's how you conclude that.
Right. I mean, in
Did you
horse
learn that from
theory,
Dell?
it doesn't exclude the idea of a horn growing out of a horse. So therefore, based on the very slim possibility and limited probability that it wouldn't happen, I'm going to say there's a chance it would. Therefore, unicorns. With that in mind, that nonsense will make a lot more sense if you haven't watched yesterday's show, and we now transition over to Sabine Hosselenfelder. Let's see if we get interrupted immediately.
Oh, hold on. What you are talking about is unicorn probability, chance, right? Unicorn probability.
If you like.
Unicorn probability distribution. Come on, man. Get with the unicorns.
No, that would be horn distribution. That's not the same thing as unicorn
It's
probability.
the unicorn wave function.
No, it's just called quantum unicorns. You're all wrong.
Unicorn wave function. It's a wave function. It's not really a wave, though. But you can think of it as a wave. Unicorns are just like that.
Yep, Arwen is going to continue talking no matter what, isn't he? Can you hear that in the...
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay,
Wait,
we
what
go
are
on.
you-
I was gonna object before you were talking about where you were like, he knows how to get into the ball when mind frame, and he knows how to stop. And I was just gonna be like, I don't know about that. Knows how to stop part.
Don't tell him that we've been complimenting him earlier.
Thank you.
I love you, Arwen.
Yeah, but I didn't also. I didn't see. or
Literally,
hear
I have
you
started
playing-
the video again, and now Arwen's going to have a cross conversation about how
I
ace he
can't
is with
hear the
chocolate.
video in here.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't. I'm not
You're not?
hearing it.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
you're
haven't
right. You
heard
can't.
anything yet.
No, my bad. My bad.
I haven't heard it either.
That entropy can't decrease. And as entropy increases, order gets destroyed. This is why things break, why we age, and why the universe will eventually become a big disordered bag of mixed particles. At some point, life in the universe will become impossible. That's kind of depressing. But
We've already covered this. Where did we get up to? About halfway, right?
You know what I find funny about that part where she says that's kind of depressing? That's where you think your life came from in the first place, lady. Like, are you okay?
Right, we'll start here. I don't know where we got to yesterday, but we're going to start at 8 minutes 47 because that's where I ended up.
these are all low entropy objects with specific structures that we have created. But eventually, this will stop working because we'll run out of low entropy reservoirs.
There's who. So, by the virtue of the fact that entropy is moving from low to high, you're going to say that what? It's going to run out eventually. That's a logical extrapolation. You're moving outside the description of entropy to extrapolate out what you think will be the end. But that's not what the laws of nature do. They simply describe what's occurring as you observe it.
Our sun will run out of
Hold
fuel.
on. Did everyone fill their entropy reservoirs? You got your backup entropy on you? What the hell is she talking about?
Yeah.
Earth's core will go cold. Other stars will run out of fuel too, and
See, that's why. So she's saying that, eventually the sun will burn out. Well, no, based on what you say the sun is and how you're extrapolating out your logical inference from the second law of thermodynamics, eventually your sun will burn out. Right. Okay. No, that doesn't take its inference from the second law of thermodynamics in any way, shape, or form at all, when all you describe with entropy would be the dispersion of a gas into a vacuum, for instance. Well, the sun, claimed to be a gas, would just be dispersing into the sky vacuum. So it doesn't lend itself to the sun in your model, because the sun is a direct violation of this law.
eventually 10 to the 100 years or so from now, the universe will come into thermal equilibrium.
Yeah, again, based on what? How you observe things behaving? Well, I observe things in cycles. You can observe their entropic effects and then observe them cyclically coming back down again in the form of rain if you look at water, for example.
Entropy will be as large as it can get, and nothing will happen on the average. Physicists call this heat death.
Yeah, that's what we're moving into. Einsteinian notions of the end of the universe. No, these are all extrapolations from a concept that simply describes how things move forward through the arrow of time. Your extrapolation thereafter is worthless to everyone.
The word is somewhat misleading because it doesn't mean it'll be hot. To the contrary, it'll be very cold and very dark. Heat refers to the useless energy that I mentioned previously. It had better be called high entropy death. What does entropy have to do with order? This has always confused me. I know
The definitions of entropy have changed in terms of this crude description that she's about to go through. It doesn't actually comport with the most recent refined definitions of the second law.
now think the brief answer is nothing, because
Which is interesting, because she already went through the number of available microstates, did she not, earlier?
order doesn't have a well-defined meaning.
Yeah, order to disorder is not a good way of describing the second law of thermodynamics, believe it or not.
For example, imagine you're pouring milk into tea. At the beginning, they are neatly separated, ordered, you could say. At the end, they are evenly mixed. I'd also call this ordered, but in physics, this even distribution doesn't count as order. This reference to order causes a lot of confusion. For example, as we saw earlier, the entropy in the early universe must have been small. Back then, matter
Here we go again. So she's going to extrapolate out her logical inference.
was very evenly distributed with small fluctuations in the
Was it? Says who? You got a time machine? You can only observe how things occur now and then describe them within this convention. That's it. This, going back in time, rewinding the arrow of time, by logical inference, it works outside the convention. It's only there so she can extrapolate out the Big Bang. That's the only reason she's doing this.
the density, which
She got it from her friend, my homegirl Michelle Thaler, who said, when the entire universe was hydrogen gas, like 400 billion years ago, that we could take a picture of that. That's where she got it from.
It's just standard heliocentric rhetoric, but yeah.
which then grew to galaxies. At the end of the universe, matter will again be evenly distributed with small fluctuations in density. Both cases seem equally.
This is an urgent.
Okay, my bad. Ads.
If you wish. So how can it be that one has low entropy and the other high? It's because
Talking about two hypothetical states outside of the convention that you've utilised your logical inference to come to and then pose a question about how they came to those positions. You didn't see or experience either. You can only describe the arrow of time with this convention. That's it. You're working outside of the convention, implying logical inference before the beginning of time and after the end of it, and then asking questions based on those extrapolations and logical inferences.
in the early universe, the density of matter is high, and this means the gravitational force is
The what now? Gravitational force hasn't been a force for 108 years.
strong, and
Strong hasn't been a force for 108 years.
the gravitational force is
There isn't one. It hasn't been a force for 108 years.
attractive, so it wants to draw the stuff together.
Does it? When it's not a force?
An even distribution of matter when gravity is strong is incredibly
Strong? How can it be strong if it's not a force?
unlikely, it's unstable, it wants to clump. This even distribution, therefore, had low entropy.
This is just a gravitational description incorporating entropy, which it doesn't comport with. So the uneven distribution of mass causing the bending and warping of a fourth-dimensional space-time. Okay, mathematically describing fourth dimensions doesn't give rise to any force. Anybody who understands this stuff will tell you that. For instance, George Musa. I mean, gravity's not a force, but you can think of it as a force, end quote. Well, that's him telling you it's not a force. Now, while you might want to think of it as a force, you can think of me as a millionaire. I'm not. Smash the super chat to support this channel. But thinking about things as they are not isn't the game of realists like us. It's not a force.
Remember, Nathan, he also, the great George Muser told us we must consider Newtonian gravity as a force. Doesn't mean it really is one, but we don't necessarily have to work at the really is level. Unquote.
We at the Flat Earth debate side of this discussion do work at the really is level. Sabine Hosselenfelder does not work at the really is level. I mean, she might want to tell you how she's thinking about gravity being a force today, but it isn't one.
At the end of the universe, however,
Sorry, where have you been to this end of the universe? Did you explore this place in your rocket ship?
matter will be very thinly distributed.
Really? All right. How have you validated that? Are you working outside of this convention much?
And gravity will be weak.
Will it? When it's not a force? Outside of the convention with a non-force force that you can think of as a force, just sack her off. What's she babbling about?
So it doesn't want to clump again.
Oh, doesn't want to? Right, reification fallacy. Ding, 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 ding. Sorry, it has desires now. Right? Bit like the gas particles at the Kármán line burning their bras, deciding to rebel against the second law of thermodynamics, not disperse into sky vacuums. Right? Oh my God.
Yep.
What next? It's going to be giving you a little discussion on it.
This is a very likely situation.
Really? The want and desires of the gravity is highly likely, says Sabine Hosselenfelder. We'll hold the whole front page for that one, love.
So the entropy is high. And what's with information? Yes, the relation between
What's with the ham-handed segue?
entropy and information is subtle.
Is it? Really? There was me thinking that information has a causal influence in quantum mechanics, but there we go. It's contained within the second law of thermodynamics, apparently.
Comes from the definition.
Sorry, did someone want to add something?
I just want to say it's kind of funny. She's bringing up information. She seems to be a what she calls an atheist. So I'm curious where she thinks information comes from. Just curious.
Can't exist in their world.
Of entropy as the number of microstates per macrostate. Remember that to calculate the entropy, you average over microstates. This means you throw away information. In the macrostate, there's something you don't know. So high entropy means low information, and low entropy means high information. Or that
There was me thinking it was a position that it could occupy in space. And the number of available positions that were available to occupy would be considered the microstate value. Am I wrong in that, John? Not there.
Yeah, the microstate value, you'd have to know the overall amount of space, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah. She's trying to ascribe the number of available microstates, which you're correctly identifying as only being identifiable if you know the volume of the space that you can have and availability of positions to be in or microstates. Well, that's correct, but she's not quite saying that. She's saying that the information is going to decrease with the available amount of microstates. I think that's what she's said. And I'm saying, hang on a second, I just thought it was the available number of positions that any given particle could be in at any one time and the availability thereof. That would be the number of available microstates, unless I'm mistaken. That's what I'm asking.
Okay, she's talking about the individual particle, how much movement it has.
She's saying that's information. Do you want to hear it again?
That's information?
Yeah, do you want to hear it again?
Yes, please.
number of microstates per macrostate. Remember that to calculate the entropy, you average over microstates. This means you throw away information.
There you go.
I don't know if that made any sense at all.
No, that's what I thought.
No, that's
Yeah,
information.
that's what I'm thinking.
Hold on, go ahead. Adam.
She's hybriding two things there. Okay. So that's information theory of entropy. I'm just quickly looking it up, but
Oh, looks like we're going to be eating a humble pie, lads. Go ahead, Adam. You look
no,
at
I think there's a distinction. In information theory, the entropy of a random variable is the average level of information, surprise, or uncertainty inherent to the variable possible outcomes, given a discrete random variable which takes values into the alphabet and is distributed according to where sigma denotes the sum of the variables' possible values. So I think it's more detailing information and how you. I don't think it's specifically talking about standard entropy with regards to energy. I'll read a bit further, but it seems to make that distinguishment. Look at the beginning with.
Okay, well, perhaps our ignorance, or my ignorance specifically, hasn't led me to be able to distinguish this convolution by her, in which case I'll just plead ignorance and go, fine, if I don't know why she's blurred these lines because I don't know the distinction, then hopefully Adam will elucidate that in time. We'll play on for a little bit while Adam reads.
In the macrostate, there's something you don't know. So high entropy means low information and low entropy means high information. All that I told you so far is pretty standard textbook stuff, and if you picked a random physicist on the street and asked them if they agree, you should let them go because they have better things to do. Now I want to tell you why I don't think heat death is how life will end. Remember that entropy
I've got
counts.
a good analogy.
Okay.
So I think this relates to what she's talking about. So I do think we're correct to question it because it's so. In the case of two fair coin tossers, the information entropy in 2 bits is the base of the log of the number of possible outcomes with the 2 coins. There are 4 possible outcomes and 2 bits of entropy, i.e., if it lands on heads, tails has been wasted information. Generally, information entropy is the average amount of information conveyed by an event when considering all the outcomes. So when we're talking about that information entropy, I think it's like you toss the coins, you get the entropy loss of the it wasn't tails. You just convey that it was heads. But there's a loss of information there, technically, isn't there? I think that's what it's relating to, but it doesn't seem to be talking like particle physics.
Right.
So that's why she's saying that low entropy is high information, because it's already, since it's already, I don't know, this is weird.
Well, no. I mean, I can understand the low entropy, high information. If you think of a reservoir, if every droplet of water contains information and you've got a low entropic state, in other words, it's a very high reservoir that's about to release all of its energy. Yeah? Well, you can say it's got a high energy state and, a low entropic state, high information state, if you consider that each droplet contains information, if you want to qualify it in that way. It just seems a bit, what's the words QE would use, squirrely?
It is squirrely.
When it's already moved into all the microstates that it could possibly move into, then you have high information because there's no more microstates for it to move into. But when it's low, there's all types of microstates, and you don't know what it could do, right? Something like that.
The way to answer this is how much information can dance on the head of a pin?
Yeah, it's so convoluted. It doesn't match in terms of when you're describing with the second law, at least, what's going to occur in nature when you observe something doing something following the hour of time, obviously, in what you're going to describe. Okay, well, you can qualify that and understand it. And she's saying, don't stop any physicists on the street to ask them about this. They've got better things to do. Right after a squirrely statement about information entropy. And you're like, okay, information entropy is a new one on me. I won't deny that. But even when I hear Adam's very concise summary from what he's read, it still sounds really squirrely and a bit telling that she's telling you not to approach physicists about this. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. It's a separate thing. Look, entropy in information theory is directly analogous to the entropy in statistical thermodynamics. There you go. So it's conflating two things. Why she's saying it, I don't know. The analogy results when the value of the random variable designate energies of microstates. So Gibbs' formula for the entropy is formally identical to Shannon's formula. But they're saying they're similar, but they're dealing with completely different things. One's dealing with thermodynamics, and one's dealing with information.
Right. So
Whilst
different
they
things.
have the same axioms, they're very different things, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad we caught it. I mean, even with limited knowledge, it sounded wrong, and I'm glad we've clarified that it was.
It's the number of microstates per macrostate. But what is a macrostate? A macrostate is a state that we as humans are interested in. It's something we choose to calculate a quantity that's useful for our purposes. It's an average description that we're interested in, maybe because we want to understand how efficiently a fridge will work or how much power an engine will have.
Reasonable. Don't disagree with any of that so far.
Those are good reasons, but a macrostate has no fundamental significance, and it makes no sense to use it to talk about the fate of the universe. See, a system is always only in one microstate. That's true for the molecules in the box and also for the entire universe.
Is it true for the entire universe, you say? So it's contained?
No, that's incorrect. I mean, Rumpus said it, you know. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the Earth.
No, you're not picking up what she's putting down. She's saying this is why she disagrees with it.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Let's listen. We'll play on.
They're in one particular configuration, one particular state. The probability of this microstate is 1, and that of all other states 0. And as the state changes in time, this will remain so. The entropy of this one microstate per microstate is always 0 and stays 0. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't say that entropy increases. It says it doesn't decrease, but it can full well remain constant. The reason we get more complicated probabilities and the...
So what was the issue? So, okay, in the description, it's describing it reaching equilibrium. That's the summary of what she's just said. But what's the issue with that? Okay, yes, the second law of thermodynamics describes an equilibrium. What's the problem? Anybody know where she's going with this? Because I don't.
No, I don't. But it sounds like it's working up to a confessional debate conclusion again.
Let's have a listen.
Maybe it has to do with her equations that will say, oh, the likeliness of this is very, very low, but there's still likeliness that it will happen.
I mean,
she's saying that her space paradigm, where everything should go to what she said earlier, everything will go to shit, that the whole universe will be spread and dispersed evenly. She's now mitigating against that by saying that the entropy law doesn't state that. It says it could possibly stay the same. We could have equilibrium, not just complete equal energy soup spread across the whole universe, which is the kind of conclusion you would get from continued entropy, which is what she stated earlier. But she's now saying, no, that's not necessarily the case. You could have a nice equilibrium where entropy is not continuing. As she said, it doesn't increase, doesn't it? It just has to stop decreasing.
You're a little bit muffled, Adam.
Yeah, in case you're wondering, Adam is giving this explanation under duress. It's just how he sounds with a balaclava over his face.
I'm on the beach. It's windy.
Oh, you're on the beach. Nice. Not finding any geometric horizons out there, are you?
We'll get to that.
The reason we say entropy increases is because
it does.
We lack information about some systems.
No, it's just because that's what it does. Yeah, that's what you're describing with the second law.
If we put air molecules in the corner of the box...
Hold on, Nathan.
You can't put...
Like what you said,
go on,
what you just said was super asinine.
Yes, it was.
Like,
I agree.
We don't know whether it applies because of missing information when it's the preponderance of all the information has led to the second law of thermodynamics and entropy to become the standard.
Right.
Asinine.
Exactly. It's just describing what is, what occurs. How we see it occur is described in the second law. What does she say? Well, based on the fact that I haven't got enough statistics to show where it doesn't happen, it might not be applicable. First example she gives, let's put gases in the corner of a box. Okay. Good luck with that.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Right, exactly. Right, 76 people watching. Don't know why there's so weak numbers today. Please share the show if you've not done so already. However, I am very grateful that we've got 75 people watching. It's good to have an audience at all.
We don't know where they're going, but at least we know where they are.
But if we wanted to know, we could get a good idea by a description called the second law of thermodynamics. You know, what's going to happen, don't you, love? They're going to disperse throughout that availability of volume. Yeah, dispersion. That's something described in the second law of thermodynamics.
If we now let the air spread into the
Let it? What do you mean, let it? I think it's going to do its own thing, love.
entire box, it's
Notice how it bounced around in the corner for a while before it bounced out and dispersed in line with entropic law. Interesting.
still the same microstate. It's still a microstate that 1 minute ago was in the corner of the box, but we can't tell. We used to have information about the state. We
Did we? What, when we had all the gases cooped up in the corner? Yeah, good luck with that.
no longer have. That's why entropy increases, because we
All right, is that why you think the second law description gives you cause and effect reasoning? No, it doesn't. It's just a description. Ugh,
This lady's
God.
nuts.
lose access to information. But there are always macrostates that'll turn a high entropy system into a low entropy system.
No, that's just what's being described in the second law of thermodynamics. It's describing that process which we observe always. My God.
Yeah. It sounds like she's trying to analyze this entropy within the context of it being scientific.
Exactly, it's
But it
not.
isn't.
Exactly, Arwin, it's not. It's just a description.
For the molecules in the box, for example, you could put in a divider like this. It's just that this would require information that we cannot easily access. We can access it, but for that we'd need another low entropy reservoir, so nothing would be gained. The relevant point is now that our notion of entropy is based on the physical properties of macroscopic devices that we humans
Understanding of things that occur always are given to us by way of descriptions within natural laws that describe things occurring always.
have easy access to. It isn't a fundamental property of nature.
No, it's a description of it.
I believe that as the universe gets older and entropy increases according to us.
No. We have described what we have observed to always occur, and we give that description the name law, because the description is merely describing something which occurs always.
New complex systems will emerge that
So it's an appeal to the future fallacy. In future, new, more complex systems will emerge, and the
Right,
arrow
she's-
of time won't apply anymore. I see.
She's trying to build a case against it as a law.
Yep.
She's like building a court case, like there's going to be an exception to this entropy because I'm not buying this entropy. This
Yep.
cannot be it.
Because
One day.
because based on the fact that when she extrapolates out the descriptions of things that occur always, the before the description of what's occurring before our very eyes and described in this law, and the things that happen afterwards in the description of things that occur always in this law, have a conflict when she questions those two extrapolations and logical inferences. Therefore, the second law description of things that occur always may not be true. I don't like it.
Right. Especially when you conjure up things that typically don't happen or that never happen as an example of how it could be different. It's such a mess. This thing.
what a mess.
Arwen, just imagine that one day you'll crack an egg and the egg will come back together and it'll rain upside down.
That's the
Don't
world
worry.
you've got to live in. This is baller mentality. Yeah? Me, flat earther, I sleep well. I don't have to put up with this garbage. I have to conceptualize the crap nonsense that you have to envisage if you've got a ball belief that doesn't comport with natural laws. Things that just describe how things occur always. Unless we're in a sky vacuum, then, yeah, 85 watching. Someone definitely hit the share button. Thank you for sharing, whoever that was.
Rely on different macrostates that we ourselves could never use. And for those complex systems, call them...
How are we going to use them? You can't reify the description from the second law of thermodynamics when it's describing things that occur always and say, how can we put to use the description within the law? You don't. It's not going to do any work either. Now she's reifying the description into physicality and extrapolating out the microstates as having a useful purpose. Their only use is to describe how things occur always. She's nuts. She doesn't understand what the laws are for.
Living beings, the entropy will be small again, so life will go on, but in a form very different from us.
Yield to the future fallacy.
And what about quantum mechanics, I hear you ask?
No, we asked earlier when you were talking about information. I think we even jokingly started to give it absurd titles with quantum in them earlier in the show. But at this particular juncture, no, nobody asked that question. Did anybody ask that question?
No.
Even when you brought up information, we didn't ask that question.
Didn't she bring it up, though? I mean, talking about microstates, isn't that specifically from quantum mechanics?
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the microstates you're looking for.
No. When you say that, no, you're confusing probability distribution with microstates, Arwin.
Okay, so they're not related at all?
No, the diffraction pattern that you would observe if you're talking about wavelengths of light and the collapse thereof, that would be wave function collapse. That's probability distribution. And establishing the cause of that phenomena observed in nature, that's diffraction, would be what gives you your computers and semiconductors as a result of establishing the cause with quantum mechanics. But that's got sod all to do with the description in entropy of microstates, unless somebody on the panel suddenly says, well, actually...
Well,
but I don't think so.
I thought that quantum mechanics was also had been busying itself with how exactly it all happens. Like, how would entropy transpire?
Well, maybe you can make those extrapolations, but not within the base science of quantum mechanics. That's not what's occurring. No, science is very limited, as you well know, Arwin. All you're going to be doing is establishing that knowledge of which path causes wave function collapse. I've just twigged why you've got that. Hold on, I've just figured out why you're doing this, or why you have the misapprehension, I should say. They're both probability based, aren't they? That's it.
Yes, exactly. That was my
But that's
point.
it. Okay, so
right.
that's it, but they're not connected. But just because these two are probability connected doesn't mean that I would ask the question, what about quantum mechanics? So we'll just correct her. No, Sabine, you may now ask that question and have. We haven't, but we'll see where you go.
So they're like brothers in the same spectrum, but they're definitely not the same root. They're not the same things.
Well, brothers in respect that they're both probability based, I suppose.
Yeah. All right.
Quantum
then I got it straight out.
Mechanics doesn't change anything about this. In
Why would it?
quantum mechanics, the universe is still in exactly one microstate. It's just that now it's one big wave function.
Oh my God! So we preemptively covered where it could be convoluted but shouldn't because they're distinctly different things. And then immediately she does exactly that. Who would have thunk it?
I did. I predicted the future just there.
I was going to take credit for that, but fine.
We
I
both did
sometimes
it.
Yeah, we did, between us.
hear people say that the Heisenberg uncertainty principle implies there are quantities that you cannot measure at the same time.
And what's this got to do with the second law of thermodynamics? Hot moving to cold, high pressure to low pressure, dispersion, osmosis, diffusion. What about all those things? Those are all second law related. What's this got to do with it?
For example, position and momentum.
Nobody asked this, did they?
But this is a misunderstanding. You can
Is it? Who's misunderstanding this other than you? You brought it up.
Actually measure both. It's just that if you can predict the outcome of one of those measurements very well, you can say very little about the outcome of the other measurement. I talked about this in more detail in an
About what you couldn't know? How profound. I don't think I'll be watching that. I'll give that a miss.
earlier video. So if in 10 to the 100 years you arrive at the end of the universe and they've put up a sign saying, sorry, we're closed, tell them Sabine sent you.
None of the above will be functionally possible by any one person, and if they did, they wouldn't be mentioning you if they'd achieved it.
This was the most optimistic and uplifting video I've ever
On the contrary, if on the other hand this got you moist love, then good for you.
done and can ever do. It can only go downhill from here.
Okay, what, like the arrow of time?
Big questions like this got me interested in physics.
This isn't physics, this is laws of nature. I mean, you've convoluted in some physical properties of quantum mechanics right at the end there, but this is just describing how things occur in nature.
How did she find this uplifting? Exactly. She just said,
But
"Oh, I
by-
find this very uplifting," and then it's like, "Yeah, it's all going downhill from here." What?
By ending it with, if you get to the end of the universe and there's a sign that says, we're closed, tell her she sent you. That's how it's uplifting.
Perfect segue for me to say that what you can do as an audience member of Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel, or if you're watching this as a premiere on the Nathan Oakley channel, then let Sabine know at Nathan Oakley 1980 or at Nathan Oakley sent me. And you can let her know that we responded to her video in terms of her convoluted gaggle screw of nonsense with respect to the second law of thermodynamics, that's entropic law, and her spattering of nonsense when it came to quantum mechanics.
The fascinating thing about them is that you don't need all that much maths to understand them. It's differential.
Why would we need any when laws of nature describe how things occur in nature and science establishes the cause of an effect? Neither require any mathematical acumen.
Equations and probabilities and
That sounds a lot like maths. You said earlier that this got you moist for physics. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds a lot like maths.
that's basically it.
Well, then you got excited for the maths. Physics is the physical.
If you want to know more about the maths behind what I talked about today,
And how it got you moist for physics?
I recommend you try brilliant.org, who have been
I reckon you try a full frontal lobotomy because it's not physics.
sponsoring this video.
With their maths. Oh, okay. I mean, we were more interested in the physics. But physics isn't natural law descriptions. Physics establishes causes of effects in nature, we observe. Laws of nature merely describe how things occur always. You could describe that description as a phenomena, a very concise and accurate description of a phenomena. But it's not science. I think we've only got a plug for Brilliant following this. Links going by in the chat right now, so go and let Sabine know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. That's it, we're done. Just in case you were unaware.
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah,
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
you're not listening to Chocolate.
I'm not listening because I'm rounding out.
Ah,
Rounding out the video. Go ahead, Chocolate.
now you were giving her grief for why she's trying to include math. You have to remember, the entire video she's been trying to stuff this equation of likeliness, which is what I'm going to call it, into her little spew over here. So she's got to leave room for that. The equation of likeliness of something that's not very likely to happen, but still kind of likely. It's ridiculous.
I got a message from Flatsoid. I don't know if this was intended to be read out, but I'm going to read it anyway. It says, "What up, brother? Hey, bro. Good. And yourself, man?" It's written in a way that he's like talking to me. This is Flatsoid. Dell is really starting to piss me off. His Dunning-Kruger abilities are off the charts. Dell has not responded to me about me challenging him yet. Would you guys be so kind as to ask him when I will be chatting with him? He claims us cowards, but seems to be avoiding me. Please ask him live at Nathan. By reading out your message, I have effectively done so. Apparently, Dell, Flatsoid's chasing you down. Now, me, I've got no interest in you. Like I say, I haven't given you a second thought beyond the revenue that your video might develop for me. But Flatside, on the other hand, he's keen. Yeah? He's obviously a fan. Yeah. Right, Flatside? Very keen to get Dal's attention? Fair enough, my friend. More power to you. Me, I've got no interest in such things, but I will absolutely pass on the message by virtue of reading out what I didn't know or did know was a message that could or could not be live and now is. So there we go. Del is aware if he's listening. And now, our regular content. So what did we think? It's been worth covering? Less irritating than most of them, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, continue.
They continue.
Wasn't that the end?
It was. I was just checking how much attention Arwen was paying. 0 is the answer.
No, it was.
I made it explicitly clear that...
I'm in a bag still, or...
Made it explicitly clear, talking through everyone else, that I was rounding out the video, and then you moaned that I was talking. Maybe it was because you were all talking through me that you didn't hear me rounding out the video. Anyway,
I'll take it. I do sound like I'm in a bag.
I think next Thursday, maybe sometime, Adam. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Well, Discord's been very quiet today. Maybe that's why we've got low audience numbers, because of the low. What day is it? Tuesday? Couple of days back at work, everyone's suffering the lull. No one's got the enthusiasm level.
Discord, the crowd loves you. Go for it.
That's better, Adam. What did you do? Take the gag out of your mouth or what?
Yeah, the gimp masks come off. How those snooker balls running in your mouth. Just I find that quite interesting, because I think what you saw there is a mixture of known and established science, bits and bobs, the natural law and stuff like that, and then how they conflate it with their own worldview of the heliocentric universe, how things have to be mixed in, how they then incorporate theoretical physics in to these established things, and how that helps them paint their paradigm. And it's been wandered off into a number of those, but well, that was a good video exempling what's true, because there was a lot of points we were nodding along with that. Yeah, I agree with that, was it? And then we laugh as it gets painted into their paradigm. So to me, it was worthy of that point.
I always like when they put molecules in a box. Seems like it doesn't work any other way, right? We wouldn't be able to have molecules in a corner without the box, right? Thanks, Bean.
Yeah, they need that
Yeah,
V.
even in theoretical, they have to have a container, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Did anybody watch Dell's video that he uploaded?
No.
The last one?
Oh, it's another Dal fan. Flatsoid, you're not alone. Go ahead, Arwen.
Stationary and Globe Earth Special Pleading. That's the title.
Okay.
That should tell you enough, right?
Who's pleading? Who's pleading this?
Well, Dell. Dell is creating a false dichotomy here.
He's claiming someone else is making a special pleading fallacy, isn't he? You don't understand. Right. Who is pleading?
We think that stationary is a special pleading.
Yeah,
it's an extraordinary
You're just not listening. Oh, forget it. I'll give up.
What? What did I do wrong?
Projection.
Projection.
Who is the one pleading?
A straw man opponent that he created out of us?
You're not following me. If I say that's a special pleading fallacy, then I am inferring that you are the one with the special pleading fallacy. Therefore, you're the one pleading in that circumstance. So if Dell is claiming special pleading, who is pleading and what are they pleading about? Nobody's following me, are they? No one's picking up what I'm putting down.
It doesn't say in the title, but I have no doubt that he's aiming at us.
I got that the first 5 times. Thank you, Chocolate, though. Yes, we are immediately reversing it back onto Dell and saying it's him with the special pleading fallacy. We are all well aware of Dell's special pleading fallacy and outrageous claim, but he is obviously flipping the burden of proof and suggesting, although nobody's saying you guys for me to go on from it with that. There we go. Forget it. Should have dropped it 2 minutes ago.
Sorry, I didn't want to make an item out of it. I just thought it was worth a mention.
Arwen, you can tell we're arguing for the globe based on how flat and stationary we say it is. So there you go.
Yes, well, that's how you know we're serious about it.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, what
That
do you
we're willing
guys?
to counter our own narrative, basically, to try to reinforce that it really is a globe. That means it's serious.
What do you guys think of the stills? I've updated the slide reel. and
Great
it's-
stuff.
So
Very
some of them
interesting.
are awesome.
What I focused on this time, rather than last time, was mainly a focus on the arguments, and the slides sort of tried to illustrate the arguments. While I have incorporated quite a few of those in this slide reel, what I more focused on was the people that had been by or that we'd covered in the video. So obviously every person that's on screen right now, I can't remember this guy's name, but I remember some of the things he said. He reified nature and said we could talk to her. But that guy was obviously on a video we covered, so it's the step before words go onto a thumbnail. Same with this. This will have been a thumbnail, but just before I put words on it, that would have been like 2 or 3 layers in, if that makes sense. So that's what I've used, because it's mainly faces and people, which I think is just, appealing to the lowest common denominator, as terrible as that sounds. But I'm glad you like them.
Yeah, even though I love that show 24, and I was just like, Sideman Dad's face on Jack Bauer, but it was funny. But that was one of my favorite shows. So Discord, where you at, guys?
Dell Project.
Not the guy that used to be in Discord that's in here now. Discord. What up, D-Rose, by the way?
The end of the universe sign says we're
Your sound is terrible.
Is it? I'll go out and come back in.
Nathan, with some of these screenshots or like these gifs you got or memes, you should put their best quotes next to them. That's what I
Put the
think
what?
anyway. Like I just saw Brian Cox when I looked at the screen, and first thing that came to my head was there isn't really a force of gravity at all. I'm thinking maybe you should just put like their famous quotes, while these or infamous.
Good idea. Yeah.
Well, they'd be
next
on
to
the
them.
thumbnails, wouldn't they? Well, for the respective video that we covered them on, the quote is, chances are, coming out of a speech bubble in the thumbnail, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be things. I'll get some ideas. I normally keep these reels for about 2 years, so. Low day today. Why do you think everyone's so lethargic?
I don't know why. I had the same issue on my show. I was like plenty of active, but everybody's just kind of like hanging around.
I've got to
I
get
don't
the
know.
energy up before we round out for the after show.
No.
Well, we've just got through 17 minutes of Sabine. That was hard, I'll be honest.
That's true. Yeah.
I
He's got
see.
a
We're
point.
blaming Sabine. No, that's a fair call.
Should have
Right.
went to Dell's video.
Oh God. Let's not do that.
Why is it with everyone being so keen on Dell? So many Dell fans in.
I'm not.
You got a crush.
Yeah, we've got Dell crushes.
I'm much more interested in actually discussing the true nature of light. And I'm not gonna like necessarily insert my conception of it, but I'd love to point out like how just the entire language, even within the physics community, for 80 years or so, has been continually describing light and aspects of light mechanically, all like it's a wave, when there's no actual direct evidence that it is a wave. and there's no speed of light, yet it's assumed. Like, it's been one of the most convoluted elements, you could say, within physics ever. Would you not agree?
I
Like-
totally disagree.
Besides the concept of only physical being in existence. Other than that, yeah, maybe.
Well, I'm just meaning within the realm of physics because it's not physical, of course. It's an energy. It's not like molecules, atoms. It's not tangible in that
No,
sense.
no, I get you. What I mean is the people who will say that nothing exists beyond the physical when they've
Oh.
just used thoughts to formulate that sentence.
Materialist
to me.
extremists, yeah.
Yeah. Those guys.
It's just ignorant, right? It's just like, oh, consciousness is just an illusion. Oh, really? Yeah, sure. You think of that.
Do I sound better now?
But yeah, well, it's not the connection, it's your mic. But
Okay.
I'd
Hold on,
like to
let's just,
continue my thought, and I'll
Hold on,
let
let's
you.
just get
It's
another
just-
sound check from D-Rose.
Yeah, I just wanted to say,
With that, I'm going to say huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Bromering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
They on purpose use that existence of the spectrum for the establishment that it has to be a wave, because how else could it be a spectrum? And could you change one type of light into another, right? And that's probably the reason why they said we just don't know how to conceive of this thing other than it being a wave. And that's why they just overruled it with everything, despite all practical results. Right? Because it's a spectrum, but it's not a wave. Like, how does that make sense logically with everything that we know? It's difficult, because why would it change its nature visibly, provably, yet it's not a wave? It doesn't actually function like a wave. It doesn't even have a speed. So there is probably some kind of, within the spectrum of light, a phase shift. I would postulate that maybe instead of a wave change, a frequency change, which would result in a different color of life, it is rather what I just said. A phase change. A phase change that causes it to be a different color.
What's changing phase?
Light. The light. Which you could think of as
I thought you were
particles
saying
or
light
whatever.
is a phase change. So I was going to say that.
No, not like that. No.
Okay.
No. It's just about what is actually transpiring with the changing of the color, right? Because you can take one piece of light and then screw around with it with lensing and prisms, and it suddenly changes, right? There's different. It's different now.
Owen, when you say phase change, can you explain what you mean?
It's an attempt to try to redescribe what they think as a frequency change, which is how they now describe color of light changing, right? They say it's a frequency change. It's a frequency within the spectrum, so it has to be a wave. It's
No, that frequency is just a mathematical calculation, isn't it?
Right. And that's what I'm pointing at. Is like how we actually conceive of what is happening should not be using that language, because it's railroading our train of thinking in different formats, which is very misleading.
Personally, I think it's just because we don't have the foggiest idea what the hell light actually is. Not sure if we ever will.
Yes, but there is a lot of definitive things and effects, right? We do know what it does, how it works. We just don't understand why it all does it that way.
As far as what it is, we don't know.
Right, but we know what it does, but what is it, right?
I think we should just humbly say it is what it is and leave it at that.
Well, it has limitations, right? There is a certain set of data that we have, like it doesn't have a speed. that is a massive, impactful realization if you're trying to conceive as to what is actually going on. So instantaneity is a whole different game from something that has a speed and would be traveling, right? So that's very important to keep in mind as you're trying to puzzle out what it is. And not be misled by any or conceivable ways of thinking that there might be a speed to it, right? Because of, well, how it induces. There might be like it manifests instantaneously, but like how it then influences the matter that it goes through, there might be some kind of weird time-based delay in that. But it is technically not the speed of the light that is delayed. It would be the reaction of material that is being delayed, right? Right? The mystery deepens. So I'm very inspired about this recently.
That's always an interesting. Light is crazy. It's one of those things that exist in our world that is kind of nuts when you think about it.
It's something else, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
instant. It creates a whole new medium of perception. And that's incredible.
And there's a giant thing outside every day that doesn't that
thing?
gives us that a thing.
No,
I was just gonna say a thing.
It's
Arwen.
there, but
not
what
not
is it?
physical. No bias, no nothing. Just it's a thing that we call the sun, whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
Okay, relax.
Yeah, and like if we wouldn't be able to visually perceive, would we ever know that there is a thing out there other than, hey, there's warmth, you know? We feel warm out there. Something is warming us. There's some kind of heat lamp. Like, would we really think of it as an object if we wouldn't be able to see? It would be actually an interesting inquiry to like ask born blind people, like, what do you picture in your mind when you think of the sun? Like, does it match how people describe it to you? Is that the way you think of it? Is that the way you've grounded yourself into thinking about it? Or have you another approach, like a more intuitive? Like, what is it to you intuitively? Would be interesting to ask.
We had a beautiful full moon yesterday. I think it looked pretty full, so I think it was full. And it just I think I started talking to it at some point. I was just like, what the hell are you? Whatever you are, you're freaking incredible. Because it was like one of those where it looked, from where I am, it looked huge. It was kind of slightly orange tinted. And the clouds
naturally bright,
and
right?
yeah, and the clouds around it look crazy. I just sat there. I was sitting in my car, just like, what the hell is that? Whatever
It's
the
like
hell
it's a
you are.
gas lamp shining on the clouds around it. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's insane. Insane. This world is beautiful, man.
And it just appears, right? It doesn't rise, doesn't set. All of a sudden, there's the moon.
Yeah, then it touches the horizon and bleep, there he goes. Just phases out. Yeah, it's kind of funny though. Like, you could be having like a conversation about just how the world is and things that are going on, where we're going, right? You're like talking at some party with people and then notice like there's a full moon and then just point at it. And it'll totally snap people out of it. Like, what the fuck?
Where'd that come from?
Just look at that. Look at how that looks. And then they feel like, what the fuck is going on? Even though it's just the moon. It just looks so surreal that it just kind of tends to snap you out of like this web of thinking and normalization.
when I first just come to flat Earth, I thought that was like a debunking of the globe because I would see them out at the same time. But they have an answer for that, right? In heliocentrism, I think.
Not
Wait,
really
what?
sure how that would debunk the globe.
Well, the rotation, the whole rotation thing. It's like how are two of them out at the same time? You know? Then,
Yeah.
you know.
What's the problem? It's facing us head on one side, and that's rotating exactly at its axis, also dead on. I mean, it's perfectly normal for a celestial body to do that.
Be out at
Would
the
be-
same
It
time.
would be slightly problematic that something that's supposed to be behind the thing is lighting the thing up from the front. that that is slightly problematic, I think, for the poor moon. What up, Chewy?
Yeah. Also, like, why would it be, right? I'm gonna dive into the presuppositions, but why would the eclipse of the moon be kind of blurry and red, while an eclipse of of the sun, the moon being in front of us, why does that give a sharp shadow? Like a hard bordered black shadow.
My thing is it a shadow?
Yeah, then but it's just go with it, right? Go like, oh, these are
I
balls.
got
Why
you.
does one give like this blurry thing while it's a really big thing? It should completely black it out, like completely make it disappear, right? But why then does the moon its shadow on the Earth? Why the umbra penumbra? First of all, that makes no freaking sense. But even if you bypass that, then why is it still such a sharp lined shadow? Why wouldn't it be the same in the opposite direction?
I got a better question. All these things which people convolute, conflate, and speculate, why can't we just enjoy the wonders? Why can't we just enjoy the sun? It gives us heat and it gives us light. And so does the moon give us light. That's the problem. Man always want to be like God. And always want to say, always want to have the knowledge. You know, it's like a child. Instead of just being appreciative of what the parent gives them, always got to say, but daddy, why are you heating up the food? Daddy, mommy, why are you doing this? Just shut up and eat and enjoy it. That's how I look at it.
Because
And
people want to tell you.
the curiosities of the world is why they got these Sabines and these DeGrasses and these
Shut up and eat.
because, huh?
Shut up and eat.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Shut up and enjoy the meal. Trust me, I'm your parent. I love you. I didn't put anything poison in it. It's not going to hurt you. It's going to feed you. So enjoy it. Shut up.
So stop
asking
being a
all these
scotch.
questions. Yeah, exactly. Because the reason why we got these people like Sabine and DeGrasse because of these questions which they want to know. So they just almost like just throw anything at them. They're not intelligent. We can say anything we want to, and they'll eat it all up. And they get paid to do that. That's how I feel about it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, they could tell you things like you can go 3 million miles away or 3 million miles further away from the sun and you get hotter. Because that checks out.
Well, I don't think it's wrong to like wonder what things are, but when you start making claims what they are, that's where the problems come.
I mean, claims
Exactly.
like somebody brought a dune buggy to the moon.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, but hey, we may be able to find out because if Earth is rising upwards, then we should reach the moon soon.
Oh God.
Listen, if you feel like it's more, if it's better to review a boring video rather than the guy that's screaming at us, fine. I would have much rather went through Dell's.
You got a crush?
What's that?
I said you got a crush on Dell?
No, but when you hear people yelling at you, you usually turn to look to see what the hell are they yelling about?
At me. You're yelling at his damn self.
Oh, you're not part of Flat Earth Debate, huh? Okay. Just checking to see who's who.
No. Did I hear the yelling? No. So he wasn't yelling at
I'm
me.
telling you. I'm letting you know. There's a little yelling going on
Oh
towards our
no!
way.
Somebody's
gotta
in some
take our
corner
tampons
somewhere
off.
saying the big bad FED. Oh no! I haven't been here for freaking 7 years dealing with that nonsense. Oh no! The fuck?
I think he lost his freaking mind, to be honest with you. I really do.
Where is everybody?
I don't know. I thought QE was here. I thought he was going to lead the charge. Probably eating.
Nathan's doing surveillance, audio surveillance.
I like the new slideshow though.
Good.
Oh, you like that I presented to you guys?
No, what
You just
Nathan's
me?
presenting.
I like it because I got on the picture. Holding a sextant, I noticed, Nathan. Like that one.
You are, yeah.
Wait, you're in one of the pics?
Not for
Yeah.
Nice.
I think a few of them I drew as well. That locally flat one with the disco ball, I'm sure I remember doing that, but I could be wrong.
Shout out to Disco Earth.
When is 10th Man back?
Next week, I think, sometime.
I'll miss his presence on the show.
Is he playing golf?
Same
No, I
with
think-
Sleeping
I think-
Warrior.
wasn't it-
Is he going to
wasn't
come
it
back
his,
at the time?
Anniversary or something? Wasn't he celebrating?
Yeah, it's anniversary and golf. I think him and his wife enjoy playing it, so they've got lovely scenery and then a couple of rounds in as well. So shout out 10th Man, hope you're enjoying it, bro.
Yep.
Nathan, have you heard from Sleeping Warrior ever since he went off in a tiff a few weeks ago?
No, he did, but I regularly talk to Anthony, yeah.
Adam, that pizza looks so good, Adam. Oh my goodness. What was the white one?
It's a Bianchi, so just like a white sauce on the bottom instead of tomato.
Right. They got a little let's see, mushrooms and stuff on it.
Fungi, artichoke, olives. What else did you have on your pizza, Marie?
Nice. Whatever.
Olives and yeah.
Now the question is, was it crispy?
Yeah, proper like traditional Italian, so like a New York place, isn't it? Thin and crispy.
Nice.
How's the fam, Adam? Everybody enjoying it over there, or was it just you that went?
Yeah, they're all out. We've got all my wife's family out here at the moment. So
Oh, look at that.
yeah, nice horizon.
That's gorgeous.
For all that bendy water.
With that, yeah. You can see out there, there's a. I can. Zoom in, can I? This platform's out there a few miles out, and you can see the bottom stuff.
Now, Adam, how's the waters there? Clear?
Yeah, because that's the Adriatic, so it's lovely and clear and really warm. It's like bath water. So if you don't go, that's cold.
Just gonna say it's bath water, right?
Yeah, really warm.
Yeah, because in New York, there's really no the beaches. There's no clear. There's no such thing as clear water.
Clear water in New York should even be in the same sentence.
Crazy. You don't realize though until you go like to Florida and you go to the beach and you're like, "This is a beach. I can see my feet." While you're in 4 feet of water.
How far do you think that horizon is over there, Adam?
Well, certainly, if I was going to have to put a distance to a point of optical dissolution, I would say it doesn't comport with any geometric ball claim.
Copy that.
So at best you debunk the radius, Adam.
Yeah, at best, sadly, that's real.
Who would have ever thought that that kind of confessional debating would become like a standard for the other side?
Who would
I
have
mean,
thought you would have
like-
started your shit with that?
Yeah, but like years ago, we were like, wow, look at this, is just crazy. But instead of like realizing like, wow, this is makes us look really bad. No, they are doing it again. And they're almost like owning it now. Now it's like really like, oh, this is what we think. And oh, look, this is how we're basically wrong. And that's it.
This is the horizon steady rate of 7/6R above 300 feet.
You're roboting.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're better now.
And they do say you can see the horizon at a steady rate of 7/6R above 300 feet.
Yeah, they claim is refraction.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I thought the claim was geometric. Like I thought the boats and the buildings were being blocked by physical earth curve. Now it's refraction.
That's what I thought. Many boats disappeared over that.
That's only if water is flat. And so the water has to be flat. And the only reason could be then earth curve.
What did you say? The water's flat, and the only reason it can be flat is the earth curve.
Yeah, what they hijack flat water. They say, look at the horizon, look at the water. It's perfectly flat, right? Like no undulations whatsoever. Therefore, flat water over a globe forming to a perfectly spherical globe. Yeah.
Disco ball.
You wouldn't expect to see curvature, right? That old adage. Oh my God, they spent years telling us you wouldn't expect to see the very things that they claim we should see and make fun of us for not believing. Can you believe that?
Well, they like I just stated, they start off with a lie. They'll tell their their audience or whoever's listening. They'll say, that water is flat, right? Like the ocean is perfectly flat. Therefore, the only reason something could be obstructed bottom up is because of Earth curve, because water is perfectly flat in the ocean when it's not. It's just a lie right from the beginning.
So if you could replicate that effect on a known flat surface, does that effect prove that it's actually not a flat surface? It's a curved one?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's the thing. Like you could get, like, you've seen the light post, lamp post, right? They're all at the same elevation, right? The top of it where the light is, whatever the ground is doing beneath it, and they'll disappear bottom first obstructed in a straight line due to perspective. So therefore, it's not Earth curve. But then how come it becomes Earth curve at a certain distance?
That Earth curve, always where it needs to be and not where it doesn't need to be. All dependable.
Well, I mean, I would say that there is something dependable about it. I mean, what that, hijacking is exactly, and to qualify it and quantify it, that's what they did. But there is something that's pretty predictable.
Yeah, it's very dependable, being that you got it from elevation angles taken off a flat plane. So that always works.
How else would you do it?
Although I do miss the days of we do have a geometric horizon. We don't have a geometric horizon.
We do.
We do. We don't. We do.
Yeah, that's not like missing the days. That's just missing the people. Like, the people who at some point will drop that and be like, yeah, you know what? They become flat earthers, right? And the people who don't just become, imagination land people. The geometric horizon still matters. This sounds kind of gay, right? But it still matters
It used
to normal people. Yeah, to normal people though, it matters.
But to people that claim that they actually took a picture of the geometric horizon, it's word soup. Right, Salmi?
Geometric horizon lives matter on a flat plane.
That's right. That's
Yes,
definitely how
they
I came
do.
off when I said it, for sure. Yep. I heard it.
So are we in the after show for sure, right?
I bet you're going to need a mechanism for that, man.
Is he claiming we have a mechanism or that we need a mechanism?
You have
Mecca
movement.
high.
There must be a mechanism for the movement. Otherwise, it's mysteriously moving, and we're just as bad as Globus. So you got to claim a
Otherwise,
stationary
it's a
Earth.
mystery.
Listen, no.
Otherwise, it's a
You
mystery.
gotta claim a stationary Earth. So tell me what's moving things.
Yeah, but that's not a claim. Stationary Earth is not a claim.
It's what we
Not
observe.
moving. Well, no, it's not. It's not a claim because stationary is not moving. That's not something you have to prove.
John, we simply have to prove the non-existence of movement, man. Get with it.
Everybody, some things go up and some things go down. You need a mechanism for that. Not this mysterious movement. It's the magical.
all the magical, mysterious non-movement, as opposed to his not mysterious, not magical, absolutely empirical movement of the entire Earth. Right.
That's a good way to put it, Chocolate.
That's what it sounds like to me in my
yeah.
head. It's just stupid. Sorry, man. Sorry, people who think that the Earth is moving, but that's just insane.
Oh, you
And
don't
of course,
feel it?
if there were proof for it, empirical proof, measurement, observation, sure. But
No, it
like,
can't.
really?
No, there can't be proof.
Well, no, duh.
No, but even if it were the case, then you could still never prove it.
Well, isn't there a way that you could measure if it's moving or not?
No. You'd have to detach yourself from it in order to establish that there are two different reference frames. So good luck.
Every time you left the ground, you slapped in the face. Or we could just reverse that and say things fall down. Right?
Right.
Right.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Why are you wanting to know, like, why is the Earth moving up? What are you trying to explain with that?
Because he threw a bottle out the window and observed something. And now he wants to know the answer to it. So his conclusion is Earth must be moving up. That's it.
When he threw the bottle out the window, he experienced what we experienced, or he didn't experience what we experienced?
It didn't prove anything. It just showed, oh, look, when there's something moving, it changes the density axis within the moving medium. And yay, why is it like that? And then you go mathematically speculate about the Earth being the cause of things being the way they are, and then end up never being able to actually prove that. And
Relative
that's
density
it. That's what it is, and that's all it is.
Yeah, but relative density disequilibrium is not affecting when I throw the bottle out the window.
Yeah, it is.
That's because
And
you
if you
threw a
don't get
bottle out
that,
the
you
window.
don't get relative density.
How did the bottle go out the window?
Through it?
Oh. So relative density doesn't affect the stuff in the bottle that I threw out the window, when the very fact that I threw the bottle out the window is caused the direction that bottle's going in is caused because relative density. Thanks.
Okay, take your tampon off. I'm doing practical demonstrations here.
You was working on that, huh?
People who come to the conclusion that the Earth is moving in any way, I think they need to cancel the internet, put their phone in a safety deposit box for a couple of months, and just go out for long walks in nature and recalibrate their senses. So to come to that conclusion and not realize how outrageous it is.
Right. And then just
Something's
realize
gone
that the
wrong.
thing they were really looking for was ether.
But that's the part that kills me, because he used to be one of those that would go out on the street and talk to people, right? Talk to Globers about their supposed movement of the Earth, right? And he would destroy them. But the very thing that now he's purporting is being caused because the Earth's moving up. Like, that's the part that drives me nuts. That's why there's a part of me that was like, is this a troll? Is this real? Like, come on. We can't be serious. We can't be here in 2023.
Well, just to be on their side, I am selling Earth handbrakes. If you want to stop the Earth from rising up, I am selling Earth handbrakes.
As long as you're selling them not on the same corner that I sell my geometric horizons, then we good. You can't have my corner. Okay?
All right. Well, I got the Earth handbrakes. You get the geometric horizons.
Copy that. And I got mine 2 for $5. 2 for $5. So.
Listen, you bunch of cowards. I'm on my show. We'll have a discussion.
You know, I think I am. I'm going to go on there, and everything he says, I'm going to put it through the unicorn farts cause the sky to burn. I'm going to just respond to it that way.
The email's in the chat. Come on in. We're freaking clouds.
You need a mechanism for why the sky is on fire, Dale. Are you not explaining it?
Yeah, how's
don't
the
know.
sun supposed to be moving up there with the up-moving Earth? Dell, explain that. If that's your model, then explain how that works.
No, you're into begging the question with him then. Don't talk about that. Talk about basic implications.
No,
If
he's
you're
making a
going to
claim. He's
address
making a claim. Now
Yeah,
I'm
but-
going to do that same thing that he's trying
Yeah,
to
but-
do with FED.
Yeah, but he can make up any story about that, and you can't prove
Yeah,
it.
and
into
I'd
it.
like to hear that bullshit story so I could prove how it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't waste my time because
Well,
stick to basic claims
I
or
would.
implications of his claim.
I
If you're
definitely
going, I
waste
don't
my
even see the
time
point.
doing that.
I don't even see the point in addressing him. Like I was what I
I
was
just
going
want to
to say
know. He made a
until
claim.
you
Now he's
say
got to fill it in.
about the
I
sun.
like to see what he comes with.
Can
He's going to come
let
up with
Brian
some
get a
some
point in
bullshit.
though?
Okay, he won't. He just won't allow me because I'm pointing out that asking Dell about the sun. Well, maybe that's what Howard wants. It's just he'll end up with a big fantastic story. I don't see the point in addressing Dell. When Dell contradicted himself on Flat Earth Debates a few weeks ago, right? He was asked 3 questions. He contradicted himself with the first one. The second one, he gave an answer that would be that would end up in the opposite from reality. And then the third one, he just laughed. Has he addressed any of those things on his videos, or has he just been shouting and calling people, cowards and names?
Well,
Why
he
address
did it.
them?
Right.
Well, he
So
did a
maybe if we just
demonstration.
if we just directly ask him a question that's technical, like, oh, so how does this part work? And then see what he does and see if we're not
No,
like
but that's
holding his feet to the
that's your
fire,
sick
he will
curiosity with
be
him.
calm and actually be halfway capable of describing it somewhat coherently. I'd like to see that because even on his own shows where he rambles on, I don't find it very coherent. I really can't make up half of the time what he's actually trying to explain.
Yeah, but
You didn't
that's the problem.
understand the sulfhexafluoride trick he did? Tinfoil and cause it to float and explain that that's what the clouds are doing? Simple.
No, that's the problem, right? That's the problem, right? That you're actually paying some attention to him. All I'm interested in is him addressing the contradiction. I asked him a question. He agreed with several things. Then I asked him a few questions. He agreed. Then I asked him one question, and he contradicted himself. That's all I'm interested in him ever addressing. Nothing else ever matters. And the clouds are not more dense than the air, because if they were to be coming down, the
They
clouds
are more dense than air. That's a factual statement. I'm
No,
sorry.
there's air in the clouds.
Yeah.
There's air in the clouds the same way as there's air inside ships, which allow them to float.
Right, but
Okay, yeah, don't keep saying that. Somebody's going to have to show you, I guess.
The water vapor that's condensing, when it gets condensed enough and dense enough, that's when it comes down.
or when there's no more rising hot air, right? If no more hot air rising, it's gonna go down. It's gonna pull down its mesh, basically. And if there's more heat, it's gonna be pushed more up, and then the clouds will be higher. They are sometimes higher.
So which one's the really high clouds? Is it cumulus? No, it's not cumulus.
Cirrus, that's the highest clouds. There's a stratospheric, supposedly microclouds, and they combined with the cumulus tend to form rain, according to meteorology.
Right. I don't need the whole story. You're just saying it's the warm air pushing those
Rising.
clouds up.
At ground level.
Warm air rising is putting those clouds up there.
No, it's
it's not putting the clouds up. It's not putting the clouds
It's
up.
cold up, it's wanting to go way down, but it's the warm air
me
expanding
explain.
that's keeping it in equilibrium.
They may
I
explain
don't know why y'all are trying to explain it. It's kind of silly that y'all are trying to explain it. I'm just
If you
pointing
don't
out
need me, if you don't need me to
are more
explain
dense than our surrounds them.
if they were more dense, they'd go down.
Why y'all are trying to explain something that
If they were more dense,
it just
they'd
is.
go down, John.
If they were more dense, well, they're not going down though, are they?
But they're not, because they're not more dense. When they become dense enough, they do become rain. And rain is more dense, and rain, the water then falls down to earth.
So your claim is the clouds are not more dense than the air around.
No, they're not. They're not there. They are within them. The overall density
That's
is less than
factually
the air.
wrong. Yeah, that's factually wrong.
Really, where are you getting your information from?
It's the micro. There are a lot of micro droplets. They're very visible, but it's not a solid mesh. It's really micro droplets at a certain distance. As soon as they actually form a liquid mesh, and it is, we see it because it is liquid. It's just micro drop. But when it comes together, yeah, then it's suddenly denser, and that's how it comes down, right? But the cloud is basically a mesh of extremely small micro droplets that still are very visible, though, altogether.
Hold on,
It's
Owen,
not
because
denser.
Brian
I've seen a lot of
effectively
things.
just asked John for a citation.
You want a citation that water that has phase change is denser than air?
But it's not after phase changing, John. That's the point. It hasn't phase
Are you
changed.
saying that the cloud is gas?
The cloud is not air. It's not water vapor, and it's not H2O, as in it's not liquid water.
It is. It is.
It is.
Tiny little bits of water droplets. Hold on, I'll get you a
Yeah, but-
citation. Y'all keep on.
Yes, but
I don't know.
you're
Like
more
attack
dense.
this
The
like it's a
citation
claim
has
I'm
to
making. It
more
just
dense,
is,
you're
guys. I'm
more dense.
sorry, it doesn't fit in line with
more
whatever
dense.
crappy
You're claiming
explanation
more
you have.
dense. See, I'm not,
Yeah,
you
but
keep
if it's a
talking
micro
through me, that's
droplet,
what
it's
it is,
not more
John.
dense.
No,
A
clouds
micro
are not more
droplet,
dense.
if it's
When
very
they become
small,
dense,
it
when they
becomes
become more
an
dense, they
exception.
fall down. It's called rain.
Yeah, but if it's really, really small, like a speck of dust, guess what? Yeah, that speck of dust is definitely more dense than the air it is in. But because it's so small, the friction level basically becomes enormous in comparison. And that's why it doesn't just fall down straight up. Because it's so freaking small. And micro droplets, like what clouds are, they don't fall down because of the same reason as dust doesn't just fall down.
No. They're
Y'all are
not.
arguing.
When they become a drop
Okay,
of water,
just say
they
they're
become more
not.
dense.
Water droplets are denser than air. That's just facts.
Yeah, rain is more dense.
Water droplets. Don't change it to rain. Water droplets are clouds made up of tiny
Clouds are
water
made up of
droplets.
Micro droplets, not just water droplets.
Clouds are made of condensing water vapor.
If it is a micro droplet, it is still denser than the air around it because air is microstates too.
It has an amalgamation
Water
type
vapor
effect, so
is
it just responds
dense.
differently.
Water vapor is less dense than air, right? A good bit less dense than air. So when it's when it's in concentration, when it reaches the point of having hydrogen bonding within, right, and it becomes a drop of water, a raindrop, it falls down. Until then, it's not after reaching the point of having enough density to fall down. It's not like a load of little water droplets become one big droplet. No, it's a load of water vapor that's condensing becomes droplets. It's not already water. When it becomes water, it falls. Until then, it's not water, and it won't fall.
It's always water. You're confusing liquid and gaseous states.
Yeah, but
I'm not doing this.
liquid water.
It is, a
Not
cloud
liquid
is
water.
just simply more dense.
It's
It
not
just is.
liquid water.
I'm sorry you don't believe that.
Wrong. You're wrong. You keep saying this.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
It's basic.
Yes, you are.
Oh,
Well,
you can say I'm wrong.
Okay, then. Get some citation that says the clouds are more dense than air.
You want? Well, see, we got to go ahead.
How about
Raj.
this? You said clouds are vapor, right? Is that what you said, Brian?
No.
That's officially what they are. Condensing water vapor.
What?
No,
No,
then
they're
you can't
not.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You can't
Condensing
see
water
water vapor. It's absolutely.
Yeah, you can't.
visible.
I
but you're
I
mixing.
posted it. I posted
Yeah.
it in Skype. You can't see water vapor.
Yes, but there's other aerosols and dust inside the cloud.
Yeah, we're not looking at a cloud of dust. We're looking at liquid water droplets that are caused.
Yeah, you can't
they're
see water
forming
vapor,
because
but
of the
when it
dust.
starts
Yeah, but then
condensing, when it starts to condense and there's other stuff involved, you start being able to see a cloud. That's the official stance on it.
yeah, but it's not water vapor that you're looking at. That's the point.
I googled this just this morning earlier, and this is what the result that I got from Google. What was it? Even on a clear day, water vapor exists in the atmosphere as an invisible gas, unlike clouds, which are droplets of liquid water that can be seen.
But clouds aren't droplets. That's the point. They haven't become droplets yet. It's condensing water vapor. It hasn't gotten to the point of becoming hasn't become to the point of becoming an actual drop of water.
No, you got the citation.
You citation. The opposite. So you're claiming that there was more dense than air. This is not like a switcheroo where I'm supposed to go off and prove something. You prove your claim. That's what goes on.
Righteous, please post that. Righteous, please post that. And then you prove your claim.
Yeah, we want some structural support for this claim.
Well, my claim is what clouds are condensing water vapor. You tell me that can't be proven. You tell me I don't have that.
You said they were water vapor a second ago.
You have a claim out there. You have a claim out there. You have yet to show citation for it, which is that clouds are more dense than air. Let's go. That's your claim.
Yep.
Switching around. This is a switching of the burden of proof.
Righteous, go ahead and post it. Yeah.
Switching of the burden of proof.
Liquid water is more dense.
Not liquid water. Not liquid water. Clouds.
Water vapor.
Specifically clouds. You said clouds, so you go and get the citation
and it's
for
in the
clouds.
citation.
Nobody claimed liquid water wasn't more dense.
Guys, this is just a giant soup of people talking through each other this way. Stop it.
This is all fallacious because we never ever disagree with each other. Sorry.
Yeah, but disagree with each other and then take turns doing it, right? Don't do it simultaneously. It just becomes unintelligible.
Yeah, Brian.
Well, this is the thing. Clouds are made up of tiny water droplets. 1 minute, they're water vapor the next. Clouds are just tiny water droplets. That's what they are. And they are more dense than the air around them.
Have they formed hydrogen bonds?
I'm not doing anything else. Righteous is giving you the citation. You can deal with it. I'm not explaining physics to you anymore.
You made a claim that clouds were more dense than air. Now I want to see some citation for that.
Yeah, Righteous is going to post it. So
no, you get the citation and you post the thing that's supposed to support you. You're trying to switch your claim. You're trying to use that as a switch to your claim. You said clouds. I want to see the citation where it supports you that clouds are more dense than air. You do it.
Clouds are tiny water droplets. Tiny water droplets are denser than air.
I didn't ask you what they were. I asked you
my time any further than that. Righteous will give you the citation.
Guys, you're bickering over something that's pointless. We're talking about a dynamic system here. There's more than just density influences.
Doesn't matter, Arwen. There's a claim on the table that's not being supported, and the person who made the claim is trying to switch around his claim, and he's also trying to push the burden of proof back on someone else.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me insert something. It's important to realize, and that is there's this building somewhere over here where you can go in, and there's a lot of fans, and you can literally walk on that and literally hover, yeah? Well, I am definitely much more dense than air because it's rising at a rapid rate. I'm actually floating, right? So you could take, come on, let me finish. Taking that into consideration, yeah, there's more factors at play actually keeping the water droplets at that height, right? There's continually heat coming from the ground. This is officially admitted.
No, what you're talking about is convection. I know about convection.
Well, then why don't you include it within the reasoning?
You're after agreeing with John whether John ever coming up with anything official to support his claim.
Which one of you guys are like denying relative density disequilibrium? I'm not sure.
None
I
of
don't
us.
think any of us are.
Which one's supporting it?
It doesn't
I
need
am.
any. It doesn't need any support. It's validated scientifically.
And expanded upon with advanced relative density, which is slightly outside of the scientific field, but still very valid.
Sounds like you might be contesting it, though.
I mean,
Or
there's two sides, right? Like one person's saying that it's more dense in a medium, but going up, and then the other person's saying the opposite.
Well, there's other factors at play as well. Like the medium might also be moving, playing a role within where the object is at, right?
sorry, that's
Oh, you
fascinating.
sound like
sorry
Del
to
now.
interrupt. Sorry.
Oh.
Fascinating though this is.
Hot air rising.
But yeah, this is fascinating. Is there any point in this inquiry? I mean, what we proving or disproving?
Well, it's kind of rough for the people that claim there is an upward rising Earth creating a density gradient that we experience. It's a rough one for them to deal with because there are clouds.
Right, but it sounds like, I mean, I don't want to take Brian's argument with you. I don't want to take over that. Sorry.
Wait, what gradient are you talking about? Are you talking about the gradation of the air? Or the gradient, which is a misnomer, of the axis of how density passively moves because of relative density? Which one?
The gradient.
You know,
The gradient.
I thought the reason we used the clouds example for Dell's to rebuttal Dell was because clouds, in the sense, kind of seem to defy the whole density gradient thing.
But they're
Because
not. Though.
if they're droplets, they should be more dense. Yet they're up there instead of down here.
Yeah, but because they're so
never mind
incredibly
then.
small,
Del
hold
doesn't know
on,
what he's
because they're so
talking.
incredibly small, the physics of it starts to work slightly
They're
different.
not a droplet. They're not a drop yet.
Yeah, they're micro droplets.
Condensing water vapor. That's a gas in a phase change. The gas that's less dense than air in a phase change to water. When it becomes water, it will have hydrogen bonds. Then it's a drop of water. It will fall.
Right, it's in a transition state, but we see it because there is parts of it that definitely have transitioned into fully liquid state.
No.
Yes.
The cloud is a new state. It's not liquid. It's not gas. It's not solid. It's a new state of matter. So Brian can argue with me.
Oh my God. Yeah, but
Clouds
it
are
isn't though.
trans.
It's
No,
a
it's
mesh.
transition. It's a
It's
transition.
an amalgamation of a
transition.
lot of air
clouds.
and a
Got it.
little bit of water droplets.
So it's not.
If you guys can hear me all right, can I interject something real quick? Can you guys hear me okay? I just had the thought that if you've ever been on a plane and you fly through a cloud, the plane will get wet. The windows will have water on them. So it is water.
The plane flying
Nobody was
through the
contesting
cloud,
that it's water.
the plane flying through the cloud, right, causes it to condense around the plane. Not that you're flying through water. It is water, but it's not after becoming liquid water yet. When the plane is flying through it, the force of the plane going through it speeds up the process, and the temperature speeds up the process.
Well,
you're changing the temperature when you're flying a plane through it, remember?
Okay,
well, it's
so
not really dependent. Hold on, I want to interject this because
really quick.
it's
Talk
not
about
up
temperature
there
and pressure really
alone.
quick
There's
with the
mist.
plane. The plane should be
Owen,
the
let the
same
guy make
temperature
his
as
point.
the air, so there should be no condensation, correct? In fact, the plane should be hotter because of the friction of the air. So condensation should not happen on the plane.
Shouldn't happen on the plane. Why?
Well, because there's higher pressure and higher temperature, or at very least the plane is the same temperature as the ambient air around it.
So when the plane is going through the cloud, it's forcing itself through the cloud, so it's causing the cloud, the water vapor, to condense on the surface. which is causing
Why
it to
would it
turn to
condense
liquid
at higher
water
pressure
on the
around the
surface of the
plane?
plane.
Right, but I'm
just
asking you, why would
directly
there
address that, Brian.
there's higher pressure around the plane?
I can't hear that, John, because you keep talking over while you're not getting your citation. Because that's all I'm interested in is John's citation, not airplanes flying through clouds.
I'm not wasting my
offense.
time, Brian. I'm not going to get a citation that clouds are trannies or
So you're
not
just not going to
trannies.
get what you're supposed to get then on the board.
No, I'm not. I'm not wasting my time. I'm not wasting my time with that.
Yeah, you're claiming clouds are liquid water then.
I'm not claiming they're trannies.
So they're liquid water. So clouds are liquid water. Then. So
they're not
why does rain fall then, John?
Yeah, it is. It is liquid water. I'll make the claim, okay?
How come rain falls? How come rain falls, but clouds don't?
I guess they're no longer tranny, right? They're no longer this tranny.
Is it unicorns? Right? Is it unicorns? Maybe the reason they don't. Is it unicorns? Make sure they don't fall.
Come on, stop doing this.
I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn, Arwen. If someone wants to be making stupid things, and then
we got another state of matter.
Everyone stop for a second. Arwen, everyone stop. Hello? Hello? 3 people talking at once. Arwen shouting through, stop it, stop it, stop it, really isn't helping. But John and Brian only, please.
There are 3 states of matter. Gaseous, liquid, and solid. Okay. Well, we could put plasma in there. I mean, unless you're ready to count, clouds as plasma, Brian. Are you ready to go there? If not, then don't jump in. Okay. So 1 minute, Brian says that they're gas. The next thing he says they're transitional.
I didn't. I said they're condensing water vapor, which is water vapor in a phase transition to liquid.
Right, tranny water. All right. It's either a micro droplet, which is liquid, or it's a gas. You're inventing a new state of matter to try to make your explanation work, and I'm not wasting my time getting you a citation for your insanity. It's not happening.
So don't support your claim. You're claiming clouds are more dense, so that was the original claim. So if you're not willing to support that, then I don't give a fuck. Why am I even talking to you then?
I certainly don't. For tranny clouds, I'm not doing it. I'm not thinking
so
about it.
No. Clouds aren't condensing water vapor then. So clouds aren't condensing water vapor.
Believe what you want, Brian. It doesn't matter what I say.
It's not a belief. It
doesn't matter. You believe there's another state of matter.
Official source.
Official sources that say that clouds are trannies and they're not gas or liquid.
We get it already.
Hang on. How many times do you need to straw man or red herring or reverse the burden of proof before you come up with a citation that supports your claim? You made a very clear claim.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
And now you're not going to address it.
I'm not been able to address the new state of matter you created for your explanation. The new state of matter you created for your explanation, I've not been able to address, Brian. Yeah. You keep thinking that.
Really, because I've seen videos, I know because one presented to me in a debate of someone pouring liquid oxygen, and while they were pouring it, the liquid oxygen was starting to become a gas, but it hadn't become a gas. It was in that mid area, that grey area.
It's called mist.
Due to the temperatures. If you want to think gas just instantly becomes a liquid and there's no phase change, then that's on you.
But do you think the phase change is a state of matter? Do you think the phase change itself is the state of matter, Brian?
No, because it's not a constant, John. The phase change is not a constant. The state of matter is the constant. We don't talk about phase changes because they're not any kind of a constant state of matter. We constantly have liquid. We constantly have gas in abundance.
So
we constantly have solids.
So clouds are not this thing you're describing it as. Good job. We constantly have clouds.
Yeah, that you're claiming are more dense than the air around it. That you won't get any
They're
official
liquid,
sources to support
Brian.
you.
They are a liquid. Oh my God, I'm not. I can't believe I'm having to do this, but I will go get you a citation that clouds are liquid. Will
No, I
that
didn't ask you for
satisfy
that.
you?
Didn't ask you for that. Didn't ask you for that. I asked you for a citation that supported that clouds were more dense than the air around.
Do you need a citation that liquid is denser than air?
Listen, Bowler, I didn't ask you for that. I was very clear on what I asked you for. And there's audio of your claim. Now,
Yeah,
and
oh
there's
God,
audio
yeah.
of what
That
way
liquid is
now, either
Okay,
you
let's just stop a second,
I'm
Brian.
not
Brian,
interested
hold
in
on
any
a
red
second.
herring.
Hold on a second. Right. What you're asking for might not be attainable, but he's now led you to the point where he's saying if you accept that clouds are liquid water, then what you are proposing is that he cites that liquid water is more dense than air. Now he has.
Hang on,
I'm finished.
you're white knighting there for him. I didn't agree to anything here. I didn't agree to anything. I made my claim very clear. Clouds are condensing water vapor. That is my claim. Right now, you might want to white knight for him, but that's not going to save him. He has done every. I guarantee
you
you,
just
when people
stated,
hear
I
this,
will cite
Nathan,
you.
when
But
people hear this,
transition
Nathan, they'll be commenting
states are
on
not
it.
constant,
He's
Brian.
not
They
coming
can't
up
be in
with his
transition.
citation,
It's a
Nathan, and
transition
that is the end
state.
of that.
We don't observe transition states. They're not constant. Clouds are there, Brian.
Yeah,
You said
clouds
that.
are there, John. They're condensing water vapor.
You said we don't observe these other states of matter because they're not constant. Clouds are constantly there.
Hold on.
Brian.
Stop. So we have an impasse because Brian is saying that clouds are water vapor. That's quite explicit now. And John is saying clouds are liquid water. Correct?
No, I said clouds are condensing water vapor.
Yes,
and
that's
John is trying to
yes.
say they're
Okay,
already
Brian, condensing water vapor is still water vapor, isn't it? A fast moving car is still a moving car, and condensing water vapor is still water vapor by your description, Brian.
Yeah, the gas water vapor.
I just need a yes. Okay. Okay, we've had it for 10, 15 minutes summarising your positions. Therefore, the quibble is, are clouds liquid or gas?
No, no. They're trying to save your friend John here again now. That is not the quibble. The quibble is, are clouds more dense than air, than the surrounding air? That's the quibble.
Yes, I get that. No, Brian.
If I have to make a video about it, I'll make a video about
Brian,
it.
thank you.
If you don't agree
Thank you,
with me,
Brian.
I'll use your
Thank you.
audio from your show to make it.
Yeah, thank you.
And I don't need you saying thank you to me either. What's going on here is you're trying to white knight for John.
No, I'm summarising your positions.
He can't be saved.
No.
Well, you're not doing a very good job of it.
Summarising your positions. Got what is clouds? What are clouds? Are they liquid water or water vapor? That's it. That's the distinction, because if they're liquid water, they are, as John suggests, more dense than the air around them. However, if they are gaseous in nature, as you are suggesting, Brian, then they are not. That is the end. That's the discussion.
That's not what I didn't say they were gas. I didn't say they were liquid water. I said they're condensing water vapor, which means they're
water vapor then.
From gas.
Yeah. So water vapor then.
Transitioning, condensed.
Okay. I got it the first three times.
How many times do I have to say it before? I mean, how many straw man?
Okay.
You
I got that. Okay. Well, I'm hearing it 16 more times through the top of me trying to summarise both of your positions. I don't care either way. You're like attacking me while I summarise these positions.
You're trying to head John out of a hole.
Now you're doing it to me. Don't have a horse in this race. Don't attack me. Just trying to summarise your position. If it's wrong, that's fine. Just correct me. I'm not your enemy, Brian. But yeah, I'm not white knighting for John either while I'm summarising your position about it being condensing water vapour. Okay, so you just need to establish what the clouds are. water vapor condensing or liquid water. Glad we cleared that up. Cleared up what needs clearing up, that is.
That's not what we need. That's not what we need to clear up. What we need to clear up is whether John's claim was correct or incorrect.
His claim is they're more
Which was
dense,
a claim of density.
and his claim is based on them being liquid water, therefore more dense than the air. I've just summarised it.
I want them. Yeah, but Nathan, he has to come up with some citation that clouds, not
we got
water,
that.
not liquid water. Clouds
I didn't ascribe anything to anybody, Brian. I just said what needs to be established, regardless of who does it, is what are the clouds? What is their phase? That's it. That's what needs to be established. I don't care who does it. I'm just summarising what's going on for the audience. That's it.
That's not it. John's claim was very clear. And I addressed him on that claim. He made a claim of density.
Brian, can I ask you?
Probably on Thursday, maybe Friday. We'll see how it goes.
You're breaking up bad, brother.
Oh, so can you hear me? Sorry.
Much better. Go ahead.
Chuck. I was asking Brian if he could clarify if water vapor itself is more dense than air.
Are you having me on? That's a firm no from Brian. I mean, okay, just try and keep up. That's clear. Brian saying no. He's disagreeing and asking for citation from John, who is saying that it's more dense than air. Yeah.
Citation is in Master B.
Woohoo!
Would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I'm going to go with yes. We all want yes. We're all saying yes, John. Yes, definitely yes. Please read
Hold
it.
on, I'm having trouble. Hold on. I'm having trouble bringing up that little window. I'm going to have to leave my mic open for just a second. While it's true that clouds contain water, they actually are made of water vapor. If they were, then you wouldn't be able to see them. The water that makes up clouds is in liquid or ice form. The air around is partially made up of invisible water vapor. It's only when the water vapor cools and condenses into liquid water droplets or solid ice crystals that the clouds are visible.
That's brilliant.
Citation.
So where does it say that clouds are more dense than the air around it?
I'm done, Brian. I'm not doing this.
You're not done. What does condensing water
hold on.
vapor mean?
Let's not do this again because he did this last time.
No.
I heard that's the second time I've heard that. Hold on, Brian.
No.
Okay, no.
No, none of you have actually listened to what I said. None of you have listened. And John got a citation for something that I didn't ask him about.
You clarified what the clouds are, and they're classified as liquid or ice.
That's brilliant. No,
Right.
that's not what I asked him.
Well,
I
no,
asked him
but it
for a
clarifies-
citation. I asked him for a citation. Now, I said the clouds were condensing water vapor.
We got that.
Condensing.
We got that.
Right.
We got
Now,
that. I repeated
John
it. I got
made a
it. I
claim-
got it.
John,
I
no,
got
you
that.
Didn't get it. No, you didn't. You're trying to save John again. No, you didn't. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm wasting my time here because you're trying to save John.
No, I'm summarising what his citation said.
That's what's going
Which
on.
is rumpusing me now. I'm not getting to summarise what his citation said because you won't stop talking through me. His citation said that it's liquid.
Or ice, liquid or ice.
Right.
Not transitioning vapor.
Ergo, liquid or ice is more dense than air.
What is condensing water vapor?
Why are you asking me a question? You asked for a citation. The citation says it's liquid.
When did I? What is condensing water vapor?
I don't know. That's your claim.
Well, there you go.
Well, maybe you can get a citation for your claim of condensing liquid.
What for? What
Water vapor.
Maybe you can get a citation for why donkeys do whatever they do.
He just got a
I can get 50
citation.
citations. Maybe John could get a citation that supports his fucking claim.
Oh, what the hell?
A
Come
citation
on.
for
To be
something that I didn't ask him
Brian,
about.
No
to
need.
be fair, your claim was condensing water vapor. How are you asking Nathan what that is? Like,
No, my claim was that clouds are not more dense. No, chocolate. My claim was that I ended up talking about that because John wouldn't support his claim. My claim was that clouds are not more dense than air. Because John claimed that clouds were more dense than air. Clouds.
Okay, let me get your statement in order then, Brian. Your statement is clouds, which have now been clarified by citation, are either liquid or ice, and therefore liquid or ice clouds is less or the same density as air. That would be liquid or ice.
Clouds are not more dense.
But that means that liquid is equal density to air. Liquid water's equal density to air. That's what you're saying.
Is it? Is that what I'm saying? That's brilliant.
Yes.
So why don't we focus on what Brian is saying instead of John supporting his claim?
I'm trying to.
You're not. You're not. You're doing your best to try and strawman me or pigeonhole me into
What are you saying that
into
to?
a position.
Let's get that cleared up. Let's get that cleared up. I'm not doing anything. I am individually summarising each.
John.
Just let him get it all out. I don't have a horse in this race. I don't care about each of your positions. I am merely summarising the position for each of you to date, and you're welcome to say, no, that's not my position after I've summarised it. But you're taking it like I'm objecting or supporting John, white knighting for. I'm not, I don't care.
You are.
No, I'm not.
May I add something if you guys can hear me all right?
Hang on. I'm going to read it out. Right? I'm going to read it out. 1 second now. Sorry now. I know someone wants to say something. The key to why clouds float is that the density of the same volume of cloud material is less than the density of the same amount of dry air. Just as soil floats on water because it is less dense, clouds float on air because the moist air in clouds is less dense than dry air. Remember I said, John, there was air in clouds? So there you go. Right, I'm going to post it now. There you go, from USGS.gov science. There you go. You were wrong. What I said was correct.
Right. So now the claim is from USDS.gov because that's how, claims work. Baseless assertion can be a citation. So let's not forget that liquid or ice is less dense than air, Brian.
You're missing what they're saying. I'm going to post it in Master B. You're
Let's
missing
hear it
what's
again.
been said.
Well, let's hear it again, Brian. Brian, let's hear it again.
1 second now, Nathan. I just want to post it first so you can see it, and I'll read it again. Let me go back in there to Google. Okay. The key to why clouds float is that the density of the same volume of cloud material is less than the density of the same amount of dry air. Just as oil floats on water because it is less dense, clouds float on air because the moist air in clouds is less dense than dry air. Now, I tried to explain that to John. I tried to add in stuff with John. John was not interested in hearing it.
Did you say iron floats on water?
Oil.
Oil floats on water.
You said oil, yeah.
Okay. Right. So this comes down to an assertion that clouds are less dense than the air that surrounds them, even though clouds are made up of liquid and solid.
Hang on.
And your citation, right, it is a citation. It is a citation. I will give you that. I can find citation that Earth is a globe.
Hang on. That's great. Humid air is less dense than dry air. You know why? Because there's water vapor in it. And water vapor is less dense than air. I tried to explain this to you. That's the overall volume of the cloud, just like the overall volume of a ship allows it, with the air and everything inside it, that allows it to float. But you wanted to be pig-headed about it. You wanted to try and change things around and make it seem like I had something to back up. You're wrong. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. You're wrong.
Ice is more dense than water, isn't it?
Well, according to you, citations are no good. So whatever. If my citation means nothing, then your citation means nothing. Because I can get a citation at the Earth globe as well. So there you go.
Is ice more dense than water, Brian? Is ice more dense than water?
Well, that's nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. I didn't ask you. I didn't make any claims about ice and water. I didn't. Ice is less dense than water, but that's not the point. Who cares?
Ice is less dense
who
than
cares,
water.
John?
Well,
This
think
is
about
you
that.
not admitting you're wrong. I've proven myself. You don't have to accept it. I don't care. Don't accept it. I don't.
Can I ask a really dumb lay person question? Right, because I don't live in clouds. I don't know what they're about. Right, so could clouds not be a combination of ice, water, and moist air? Does it have to be an either or?
A combination of several
not
things.
the visible part. It's not the visible part because water vapor isn't visible. So it's the parts you
that's
see
a gas.
is right. Water vapor is gas. That water vapor is not visible. Do you see clouds?
Yeah, I see clouds.
So you see ice and water.
Water's only visible if there's a reflection.
Liquid water.
Liquid water is only visible if there's a reflection.
But I'm saying, could it be a combination of like all right, so according to Brian's citation, they're floating because of the moist air, right? But according to your citation, it's made of water and ice. So I'm saying, like, couldn't it be a combination of all of that together, which makes up a cloud? Hence, no need for arguing.
Yeah, my point, Chocolate, well, originally, I made the point to John that the overall volume of the cloud is less dense than the air. That was my point. Just like a ship.
That was a good point, because just like with ice being more dense,
Yeah, I said this even the other day. Now, if John didn't want to accept it, grand, and he wanted to try and strawman me into, am I claiming water is less dense than air? That's on him. I've proven what I said. I don't know what it's to say.
Well, it was a good point where you had specified the volume, and John was asserting that ice is more dense than water, therefore it should always sink, I guess, right? But not if it's a thin layer of ice surrounding surrounding
me. I just pointed something out.
John never said that. Yeah, but asking me, was ice more dense than water? John never said that.
No, he didn't say that. You could kind of imply. You could just take from it, right?
No,
but yeah, if you had a thin
Oh
layer
God,
of
you're gonna
ice
set him off
surrounding
again.
air.
He didn't say it. He didn't imply it. He didn't infer it. Please don't. It's just going to set him off, and we'll have lots of rumpusing. Go ahead, no thanks.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, but I just thought it was a good point, Brian. If you have a thin layer of ice surrounding air, then it will float. Then the ice will float on water. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. So the volume does matter.
Ice always floats on water. Ice always floats on water, dude.
Yeah.
Not a thin layer, ice.
Well, I'm just saying it matters what you can have a volume of different. I just thought that was a good point. Yeah.
Can I read out another citation? A cloud is a mass. This is from NASA.gov. A cloud is a mass of water drops or ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Clouds form when water condenses in the sky. The condensation lets us see the water vapor. There are many different types of clouds.
The condensation lets you see the water vapor. Is that what they just claimed?
One moment.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about
when water condenses
that one's silly
in the sky.
But
The condensation lets us. I was just about to read it out for you. I was trying to read it out for you. Clouds form when water condenses in the sky. The condensation lets us see the water vapor. Condensing water vapor, as I said, John.
Yeah, it's either water vapor, which is not visible, or
condensing water vapor. I mean, I'm after.
You can get citations
two times now. Twice now. I'm after.
Not doing this.
2 times I'm after supporting what I said. 2 times now, John. I don't know what
3 states of matter, Brian. You're inventing a new state of matter.
That's brilliant. I'm after supporting what I said. I never claimed that water was less dense than air. I never claimed that ice was less dense than air. I claimed, as it's on audio, and I claimed it today and the other day, that the overall volume of the cloud is less dense than the air. Just like steel is more dense than water, but a ship is less dense overall because of all the air inside it. It's about the overall volume. That was my original claim. That's what I said to you the other day. It's what I said today.
So you a cloud out of ice. Pull up.
I didn't hear any of that because you were breaking up.
If you make a cloud out of ice, it will float.
Off you go then. That's your claim now. That's your next claim.
No,
support that.
No, it's not.
I had to support. I had to go get support for your other claims that were wrong.
I'm using your claim. Okay,
not my claim,
whatever.
John. It's not my claim. My claim is clouds are condensing water vapor, which is shown to be correct by NASA, and that the overall volume of the cloud makes it less dense than the surrounding air. Your claim was that clouds are water or ice, and so more dense than the air. Now, I'm after showing that that is wrong. I mean, you don't have the humility to accept it.
You're reading off.
You have no humility today, John. No humility
You're
today.
reading off words on a sheet of paper and claiming you're proving something, Brian. I'm telling you.
I proved what I said. I proved what I said.
You absolutely did not. You did not.
What proof did you add, John, for your claim that
you just asked me for a citation.
You didn't produce a citation of density.
Yeah, I did.
So when I asked you, you decided to produce a different citation, not that wasn't based on density. I asked you. Your claim was very specific about density. I asked you to support that. You refused it. You came up with a different citation. You tried to strawman me and come up with a different citation that would somehow help you in the strawman. So I came up with a citation based off of what you were trying to use as well.
So what
I showed how that supported me as well. Condensing water vapor.
Water is less dense than air, is where we're at now, because clouds float. No, that's where your citation has landed.
My citation.
Yeah, his citation didn't say that though, John. It said moist air. It said air.
It said the overall. The overall density. I'll read it out again, maybe, Sean. Hang on. I'll read it out again, John. I'll read it out again to you.
You guys are rumpusing each other, man. Nobody can understand. Can we chill? Can we chill for a second? Nobody can. Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Matt.
I'll read out both citations again, right? Fourth citation. The key to why clouds float is that the density of the same volume of cloud material is less dense than the density of the same amount of dry air. Hang on, the same amount of dry air. Just as oil floats on water because it is less dense, clouds float on air because the moist air in clouds is less dense than the dry air. Second citation. That was from www.usgs.gov. Second citation from nasa.gov. A cloud is a mass of water drops or ice crystals suspended in the atmosphere. Clouds form when water condenses in the sky. The condensation lets us see the water vapor. There are many different types of clouds. I'll post that as well.
Right. So NASA wants you to believe that the clouds are resting on something to keep them from sinking through the air, right? Because I'm guessing they have a downward bias.
NASA didn't say anything. NASA didn't say anything about the density.
So it didn't say anything about density. Why are you citing it?
Because it backs me up when I said condensing water vapor.
I thought you said that you cited something about density.
I did. That was from usgs.gov. This is from nasa.gov. My first citation was supporting what I said about density. The second one is supporting what I said about what clouds are.
Right.
I've supported my claims, and you're not willing to be humble and just accept, okay, I was wrong. Or at least if you don't believe you're wrong, at least say, Brian did support what he said. What he said was backed up somewhat officially. At least give me that much, Sean. Otherwise, you just
I'll tell you what, why don't you say the same? Why don't you say the same and say, you know what, there's some conflicting evidence out there because that's my big point in this.
There
Is that
isn't, John. There isn't something in
Hold
there.
on, Brian. He's just flipped it back, but not unreasonably so. He's asking for the exact same standards. You've both just got to concede you both presented reasonable evidence. There is confliction.
But he didn't present anything,
He did.
Nathan.
You said,
what?
my God,
Okay, what did I say?
Brian, just calm down a second. Just calm down. When I represented it, it wasn't on his behalf or white knighting for him. I just represented it to you. You said I was white knighting for him. That was your response to the evidence he did present. Now, he's asking for the exact same standards that you've just asked for him, and you're going to seem unreasonable unless you give him. He might give him you it first.
No, hang on a second. This is no.
He presented stuff. He did.
Leave me clear up this. John said clouds were more dense than the air. I said no, John, and I said it the other day. I said no, the overall volume of the cloud is less dense than the air. Today, I said the same thing, and then John tried to claim that I was claiming that water was less dense than air. Now, I never claimed that. I claimed that clouds were condensing water vapor. John got a citation that stated that clouds were made up of tiny water droplets or ice crystals, right? Now, I got a citation that stated that the overall volume of the cloud makes it less dense than the surrounding air. And I got another citation that said the same thing as what John's citation said, but it added in condensing water vapor. Right? Now, I've supported what I said, exactly what I said the other day and today. I've supported it. Now, John won't address that, right? And all I asked from him, Nathan, was to just at least say that, okay, Brian did support what he said, but he won't even give me that much. He wants me to give him something that he doesn't deserve. You're not getting that, John.
that much, right? I don't deserve that much.
Okay, Brian, we got that. Brian, everything you said, I heard. I listened to it. Just let him respond, though. Go ahead, John.
But I don't deserve the same respect, correct, Brian?
You don't in this instance, John, no. Because you're not willing to address.
Don't talk
you're not willing to address.
I'm not doing it.
You're not willing. I'm sorry, you don't in this instance.
Don't get
From what I heard, you both supported your respective claims, right? With citation. Now,
No,
obviously, these. What do you mean, no?
No, his claim was that clouds were more dense than air. That was his claim, and I said he was wrong, and I proved him to be wrong with citation. When I say proof is what as much as a citation.
But he's going off of what he said as far as ice and water.
Yeah, but
we
he's
know
not
ice.
listening to the
We know
citation
ice and
talk.
water are more dense than air, right?
Yeah, but he's not listening to the citation.
Brian, everyone stop. Yeah, Brian.
You're not understanding it.
Hold on, Brian. That is your tacit acceptance of the point he made, but you won't acknowledge
That's
it
not
either.
his point, Nathan.
It is.
His point was that is not his claim. Do you want me to get the audio? Do I have to make a video about this
No,
with the
you
audio
don't,
of John
Brian.
making a claim?
Brian,
Do
Brian.
I have to do that?
Brian, please. His point that their clouds are more dense than air by his estimation was attempted to be, I know you don't think it is, that's why I'm saying attempted to be validated by a citation that demonstrates that what clouds specifically are constituently made up of stuff that is more dense than air, namely ice or water. That's what he has shown and provided citation for. However, that's not why I'm labouring this. You won't acknowledge that. Now, if I was to say that you're... Hold on, Brian. Brian. If I were to say you made a more consistent point, because you're demonstrating that through the phase change described in your citations, it's from one to the other, therefore making John incorrect. I would also agree, but when that was pointed out to John, he conceded and said, therefore there is a conflict, which again, you wouldn't concede. That's where we're at currently.
No, that's not what happened at all. That is absolutely,
that's kind of why I made...
not what happened. Sorry, Chocolate. I'm sorry. Can I just... you say and I say then? Because this is totally wrong.
No, but this is what I'm saying. Like I heard you both provide citation for what your prospective claims are, which is why I made the statement. Couldn't it be a possibility that you're both right,
Or both wrong?
Because
No,
right,
no,
right,
that's
or
what
both wrong.
what
Because I
John's
mean,
original
obviously
claim
these
for.
citations come from the same people that tell us we live on a globe, right? So
But
we can only
that doesn't
take them
mean
for
every
what they are.
citation is wrong.
That's my point, though. Is there is conflicting information, right? I mean, you have
can
to.
hash it out. That's
Hold
why we're here.
on a
Hash it
second.
out.
Let me ask Nathan
Just one
a
second.
question
I
then.
can just
Let
get
me
this
ask
because I
Nathan
want to
a
round
question.
out, Brian. Sorry. Right. Would we all agree that perhaps we don't know what the clouds are at this stage?
That's what I was trying to get to.
My statement was that clouds were condensing water vapor.
You got that?
My claim. Hang on.
Could you be
This
wrong?
all started with.
Would you
no, we won't.
concede, Brian, that
Hang
you
on.
could be wrong?
No, because condensing water, NASA supported what I said. Where do you get the water droplets and little bits of ice? Where do they come from? They're condensing water vapor.
I've dropped my phraseology in at the wrong moment. Wrong in respect to what we see, that would be the clouds, is not actually the more dense liquid or ice, as described in John's citation. That would you concede that could be wrong? Of course you will.
My citation also states, the one from NASA also states that there's water droplets and ice crystals. But the density
hold on,
citation
stop.
proves what I said.
But water droplets and ice.
It's still more dense than water, Nathan.
They are more
dense than water.
but they are more dense than
answer
air.
the question.
Oh,
It's still more
God.
dense than water.
This isn't coming
It's
through
still more dense
concisely
than
because you
water.
just keep
I have
going.
to use you because I can't use John.
Right, you're using a false dichotomy.
No,
Because
I'm not.
a water
No, I'm
droplet
not. Because we're going back to your original
Brian.
claim. We're back to your original claim.
Brian, I can't hear. I can't hear either of you. I've heard you using a false dichotomy. That's a claim he's laid. Then you've started rambling through him. I can't hear what he's claiming at your door. I was going to round out. I'm never going to get the opportunity. I've missed my segue. Chocolate tried to.
What I'm saying is the structure of a ship, right? When you're talking about its overall density, a cloud cannot be both a water droplet, right, which is a form unto itself, and a ship. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but he didn't. You called them
I didn't
tranny.
say that.
Hold on, he didn't say that. You're right, Brian. I'm now just fighting. I'm white knighting for you now, as you put it. That's not what he said. He gave it in the terms of transitional. You then took the piss out of it and said that they were tranny clouds, correct?
Right. You don't see, like, if a transition is not a state of matter, then are we claiming that we're seeing something that's not a state of matter, the clouds, or is it, as per my citation, liquid droplets and ice crystals, which are separate individual pieces of particles?
I made two claims. John made a claim that the clouds were more dense than the air. I said, no, they're not. I also said that clouds were condensing water vapor. Now, I have supported both of my claims. John didn't support his claim that clouds were more dense than air. John tried to strawman the argument and bring it to, is liquid water more dense than air? That wasn't, I originally stated, if you can go back even on this show, I did state earlier that the overall volume of the cloud is less dense than air. Now, John, you have yet to address any of those things that I have shown with citation to support me.
Okay. Well, let's just
Hold on, everyone else, shut up.
on.
John gets to respond with no one interrupting him. Thank you, Brian. Go ahead, John.
Right. All right. Well, let me just go to a simpler one that I can give you citation for that really just craps all over this anyway. Friable asbestos is more dense than the air that surrounds it. You cannot argue that it is less dense, but it does not sink to the ground under any circumstance. You have to create a vacuum chamber and pull it down or have it be expressed down by the air around it, right? If you create a vacuum at the ceiling, it'll go up. If you create a vacuum on the wall, it stays suspended in air. Asbestos fibers. They are more dense than the air around them, and they do not fall. And I'll go ahead and get you the citation for that.
But what has that got to do with clouds?
Well, I'll do it for him. Logically, he's inferring that during the transition state that you infer, Brian, which is obviously correct, it's obvious, no one's going to disagree with you, that it is transitioning. because it goes up as gas and comes back down as liquid. So at some point there is going to be a change. We all understand that the ambiguity comes in what we actually look at and call clouds. But what he's saying is, if during that transitional state, the density of what we will call liquid water or ice is more dense than the air, because it can't not be, it's ice or water, but can still be suspended in the air by whatever means that is similar or analogous to asbestos.
Yeah, but Nathan, you need to. I'm not arguing about asbestos because I don't know about asbestos, and I didn't bring up asbestos. I stated originally, I stated it the other day, and I stated it today, the overall volume of the cloud, regardless of what it's made of, the overall volume, just like a ship, the overall volume of it, with every part of it, not just steel, but all the air and everything inside of it, makes it less dense than the water it floats on. The cloud overall volume, right, and regardless of what it's comprised of, allows it to float because it's less dense in its overall volume. Now, there might be parts of the cloud that are more dense, technically more dense than the air. I don't care. It's the overall volume was my original claim.
It's like
hold on. No, you can't have that. Fuck's sake. Again, I was just about to bloody round out Brian. You've just hold on. You've just essentially conceded his point. There may be bits that are more dense. Bloody hellfire.
That wasn't his point, Nathan. This is the problem. You keep on saying that's his point. His claim was that the clouds were more dense than the air.
You've just said
they weren't.
You've just said there might be parts that are more dense.
No, his claim was very clear. I can guarantee you, Nathan, there's going to be people commenting to you saying Brian is correct.
Don't doubt it. I'm not saying you're incorrect either of you.
I can guarantee you this because I was very clear on what I said. Very clear on what I said from the start.
Okay.
I even tried to bring in it. So
okay, fine. We're getting
that water vapor. I never said that water or ice was not more dense than air. I've never said that.
But if that's what we see, if that's what the clouds are, then by logical inference, what we see, the water or ice, is therefore more dense than the air, because water or ice is more dense than air.
I see steel ships.
Okay.
Right, but so you're saying that the clouds are hammered out single objects that?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. That's a straw man. That's a straw man.
Okay.
No, it's a complete straw man.
Okay, guys, I'm going to round out. We've had summaries of clarity, and now we're getting into new straw men. No offense. So with that, I'm going to say, while these guys thrash it out in the after show for themselves, the after show, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.